The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. All right, welcome back to Am I Mental? A live podcast where real people share stories about how life impacts mental health and how mental health issues impact life. I am your host, E, and with us, as always, are the co-hosts, Bexy.
Hello.
And C.
Hi.
And, we're back. Season 8. Final season of year 2 of this podcast. We do have a number of new listeners coming on tonight, so if you don't know how to get into the chat room, first thing you need to do is to sign up as a free Spreaker account. They don't spam you. They will sometimes ask you, hey, you want to upgrade your account? You can opt out of that. But then after that, you come into our chat, or you come in and listen to the podcast. At the bottom of your screen, there's you could click on the little mini player, and it flips over to the chat, and you could go ahead and join us. Outside of that, our website is down. Funding issues. However, I'm starting a new job in January that's going to double my pay, so I'll be able to fund it myself. It'd be nice to be able to get that help, but now I can't say go to the website to donate. So yay. Wait for it to come back. Other than that, share our episodes. Best way you could probably help us is to get these out there, especially ones that you think will resonate with other people or ones that resonate with you. Outside of that, we have our guest this week. We have Jim.
Hello.
So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what we're doing?
My name is Jim. You don't need a last name, do you?
No.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind, but my name is Jim. I'm going to be talking about anxiety, panic attacks after having a major stroke. And that's probably about it. Well, we might talk about Muppets. Muppets might come into play, possibly, but I'm not sure. But definitely talking about anxiety and panic attacks after having a stroke.
This is definitely a subject I don't think we've covered yet.
No, it's like we've definitely covered like anxiety and depression and stuff, but we've never covered stroke.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it's one of those things that doesn't still get a lot of coverage, especially for younger people. You know, I was 41 when I had my stroke.
That is really young.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've known people younger than I am that have had one. So I think it's becoming a little more common to have a stroke at a younger age. I'm not sure why. Mine was based mostly on I have sleep apnea, and it would raise my blood pressure really high. And the best thing the doctors could come up with is that I had a faulty blood vessel in my brain that just couldn't handle the pressure, basically, and just popped. So that's kind of where I was at.
So kind of like an aneurysm.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly like that. And it was a big bleed, and it happened in a space in my brain that affected my left side, luckily, because I'm right-handed, so I didn't have to relearn a lot of different stuff. But, I don't have any use of my left arm. I'm up and walking again, which is good, because in the beginning, I thought that I would be wheelchair-bound for the rest of my life. But I'm up and walking. It's the kind of thing where I can say, hey, walk this way. And as people would follow me walking gimpily behind me, that old joke of, hey, walk this way. And I'd shuffle along and people would shuffle along after me. So, but I get places, upright, which is always a plus.
Yeah, you've, in the time that I've known you, I've seen you, overcome a hell of a lot and, make a ton of progress, which is awesome.
Yeah. It took about...
Hasn't always been either. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took about a year and a half to get to where I'm at now, but it's been a little over 9 years since I've had the stroke. So I'm at a place now where I think this is where I'm going to be. I'm sure if I go back into therapy, I can make some little adjustments, and there's some surgeries they've talked about, but As for right now, I'm pretty okay where I'm at. I can speak well. My brain's functioning as best as it can, even with the big space that got bled on. You know, I flubbed some things
Right.
here and there, but for the most part, I do okay.
So, out of curiosity, like what part got, as you said, flooded? Like what part of the brain?
Well, it kind of was. I don't know all of the spaces in the brain. I know it was kind of middle right. So, because your right side controls your left side of your body, left side controls your right side.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was
Yeah.
middle right. And the way they explained it to me was, the spaces in your brain that control your limbs, the arm area in the brain is small compared to the leg area. That's why I was able to at least get some functionality back in my leg. And, it wiped out most of my arm functions, basically, is kind of what the doctors explained to me. So, and, I luckily I didn't have a lot of speech problems. I had speech therapy for a while, but it was mostly cognitive. It was, I would draw clocks backwards in the beginning of it. So that was stressful because I was always right. Like the therapist would say, no, that's totally off. It doesn't say 315 the way you drew it. No, I'm right. It's totally right. And so I would be very argumentative to the therapist. Nope, I'm right. Let's move on. And yeah. And then when I knew that I was kind of getting back to me, was when my sense of humor started to kick in. And one of my speech therapists, when I was in, this is another great story, is the insurance I had in Washington State would only cover me going to a nursing home. So I'm like the youngest person in this nursing home. And so the speech therapist would give me these tasks like, okay, I'll give you a certain amount of time, like, 30 seconds or whatever, to name a bunch of, like name as many colors or whatever. And one day she gave me animals. Name as many animals as you can. And, I'm still a bit hazy, but, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to throw out some things that aren't like cat, dog, some things that will throw her a bit maybe. But I didn't think she had never heard of them. So I'm like, capybara. And she had to look at my ex-wife now. She had to look at her and go, is this the stroke? Because she'd never heard of a capybara. And my ex was like, no, this is just him being an ass. So at that point, I knew I was kind of coming around to myself, where I knew my sense of humor was intact and I could mess with people. So that was when
great.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was still a struggle, having to mostly sit all the time, and try to figure out how to move my leg and just get around. It was so frustrating, because when you're walking just a couple months prior and then you're not, you're so used to your limbs working a certain way and then everything's just dead in the water. It was very frustrating, but once that's what kind of got me through it, is my sense of humor. I can poke fun at myself all the time because of it, and it just makes things lighter for me, but also lighter for the people that I'm kind of dealing with, or that maybe feel awkward, that hadn't seen me in a while, and then they see me and my limbs aren't working, or I'm a little different. So I would be, cracking jokes about myself to make everybody else feel a little bit more comfortable.
Gotcha. I think that a lot of people that have some kind of a condition or disability tend to do that.
Yeah.
Because, it's not much. I have strabismus. If I don't look slightly upwards at all times, if I get tired, I have a lazy eye. And it makes people really uncomfortable when they're trying to talk to me. Sometimes I'm just like, look, it's not a big deal. I get it, I understand. It's a little weird that you see one eye looking at you, one eye not looking at you, and you're not sure if I'm talking to you or not. I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and poke fun at myself.
Yeah, it's one of those things you kind of have to do, to keep your own sanity straight with it, because I was having hard times dealing with I know a lot of it was with the kids that I have 3 kids, and at the time they were all fairly young. So it was tough to think that I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I was able to do prior to the stroke. And that got a little bit easier later, but it still was tough, when my son started getting into baseball and he wanted to play catch. And I only have one side to work with, and I'm doing my best, I'm throwing,
right.
And I can still throw pretty good. But the catching thing, he always wanted to throw to my left, which is normal because that's where you keep your glove, but
right.
It would just fly over. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Dad only has his right hand. But it was fun. It's fun kind of learning different things in that way, learning my way around it and then learning what I could do, which was, one of those things that would bring on some of the anxiety because, you really want to be there for the kids and to play with the kids and to do the things they want to be able to do.
Right.
So yeah, that was like trial and error. I did get to go sledding, which was fun, get all the way down on the sled. And,
God, I miss sledding. As soon as you said that, I'm just like, it threw me back in time.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know how much I missed it until I did it. And it was after the stroke. So, you get on, and then I'm like entertainment in itself when I'm getting up out of the snow. Because it's, Minnesota, it was like 2 feet deep. So having a stroke and trying to get yourself up out of the snow is comedy. It's like, it's just, I'm like the messiest snow angel you've ever seen. I'm just like on the ground waving around trying to get up. And it's just like, just a bad snow angel.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you know that you were having a stroke? Because my father, he didn't recognize when he was having one. So,
I knew something was wrong. I was at home with the 3 kids. In fact, my oldest tells this story way better than I do, but she says I was changing my youngest kid's diaper at the time. And I couldn't move my left side. I just, I was like on the ground with the kids and tried to get myself up on a chair, try to prop myself up, and I couldn't. So I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was.
So how old was your oldest at the time? Just out of curiosity.
Oh God, if I can remember, she was probably, and she might be listening to this, so she'll probably yell at me if I don't get it right. She was probably 12. I'm going to say 12. So she was 12, and then the other 2 were very young. Sadie, the youngest, she was probably 2 at the time. I'm going to say 2. And then my son was 3, 4, something like that. So yeah, they were all fairly young. And we were the only ones at home. My ex-wife wasn't at home at the time. She was at work. So I called her first, and then she's like, well, call 911. It's like, okay, I'll call 911. And I called 911, and they came, and the kids were the only ones there. So they're, and I was trying to keep a good face in front of the kids. You try and, even though I'm going through this massive stroke, you're trying to, and what I can remember is I was telling them, it's okay, it's going to be okay. And then,
right.
So that's what I remember. I do remember I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know that it was a stroke. Because, not having one before, I didn't have any references.
Right, right.
It was just like,
but I will say,
I've been on the
real fast. I will say, I caught a name drop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are at 1 for season 8. We had 5 in season 7, 7 in season 6.
This is our joke. We keep a running tally of who drops names.
Betsy was the worst for a long time. Dropped my name almost every episode.
I've gotten a lot better, and
She's gone. Just to give you an idea how well she's done, last 2 seasons she hasn't dropped the name once.
Well, that's good.
She hasn't dropped names either yet. Me, yeah. I have.
You name drop yourself.
I name drop myself.
Sorry.
See, but you can name drop yourself. That's not too bad.
Yeah, but I've also last 2 seasons I've also name dropped other once each season.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Usually
I
C,
gotta
unfortunately.
Yep.
luckily, the person I name dropped is very young, so not super young, but she's probably not on here listening, and so not yet. I'll send her. I'll send her the link.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean,
Well, I've got to say, from the other side of that, I have watched somebody have a stroke. Literally been walking into my living room from my kitchen and saw my mother have one, and immediately called 911. And that they told me that because of how fast, I recognized what she was going through, that's why she recovered as well as she did from it. She didn't have any permanent damage, thankfully, because she got help in time, which was
that's really
great.
Good. Yeah.
And I've also worked in homes where I've helped people after the fact recover and get their mobility back. So
that's really good. I've never witnessed anybody else have one. It was just, I got lucky to witness myself having one, and that's probably enough for me. I don't know if I can. It's a weird thing to go through. It's especially when you're 41. I was like, my God, now, like I'm 50 now, so I can't. It's strange to have it be over 9 years ago that this happened. But I'm pretty proud of the progress I've made. But yeah, so we should.
I could say, listening to you, I would never have guessed that you had a stroke.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that happens is my face droops still a little bit on my left side. So for the longest time, when I would talk or even smile, I would cover it up. And there's a few things that get me to smile really big, and it looks normal. Like I can still see it when I try and force the smile, and it droops down. I'm like, oh God, cover it up. I just get a little bit embarrassed by it. It's, but there's several. My kids can make me smile. My girlfriend can make me smile. There's several things that get me to smile normal. I don't want to say normally, but smile where it looks like I'm smiling like I should. But the face droop was always my biggest issue. It was my biggest hang up of myself. My left arm not working. I got around it. The kids and I started calling it floppy fish because they'd pick it up and it would just drop straight down. So that was the name they gave it when they were little. They're like, oh, it's floppy fish. So it's always stuck that way. So
that had to bring a smile to your face, though.
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, my oldest at the time when I was in the nursing home, she painted my nails like a Kermit green on that hand so that I wouldn't forget about it, because that's the one thing they say is that you start to kind of ignore that side of your body because you can't move it and you can't really feel it. It gets dull to anything, like they test that every once in a while. They would like drag like a Q-tip along it to see if I could feel anything and if it was getting better, the bottom of the foot and all that.
Right.
So they really want you to keep paying attention to it. Make sure you know it's there. Make sure you kind of maneuver it with your other hand. So I still do that to this day. It's not painted. My nails aren't painted anymore, but I pay more attention to it still.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's definitely good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine where it'd be like, oh yeah, you're still there, huh?
Yeah. Oh hey, how's it going? I should put like a puppet on it, like I should put a Bert puppet on that side and an Ernie puppet on the working side. Seeing that Bert's always down and Ernie's always up, so then I can always pay attention. Plus, they're such a great.
And this is why I call him Muppet Man.
See, I told you Muppets would come up at some point.
I freaking love Bert and Ernie. Seriously, that was one of my favorites.
Jim Henson and Frank Oz are one of my favorite comedy duos
Oh,
ever.
the Swedish Chef.
Yeah.
Because Frank Oz
Just
is puppeteering and he's trying to voice.
Yeah. Like, it's just such a great team.
They really were. They had this amazing chemistry.
Yeah. Oh wait, we should talk about the anxiety part of it. I'll forget about that, and I'll talk about Muppets the whole time, or like I'll jump in with Labyrinth or Dark Crystal or anything Jim Henson related, and I'll totally forget about the anxiety thing.
And you just named two of my favorite movies, so yeah.
Yep.
What's strange about I want to say this what's strange about the anxiety is it really didn't kick in until maybe 2 years, 3 years maybe after the stroke. And it started off as like a health related anxiety where every little pain or every little thing that was wrong, that felt wrong with me, was the worst thing that could happen. It was like, oh, my side hurts, it's got to be spleen cancer. That's how my mind would work around this.
Oh.
And I would have these panic attacks of like, I need to get to the emergency room now for me to get checked out because something's not right. And that was hard to kind of get under control because everything, because my left side also gets muscle spasms and things of that nature. So it was more than likely that would set my brain off and go, oh, I'm dying. Like, this is it. This is the end. So that's kind of how it all started. And then it moved into where I had been walking for a few years. It got to the point where I was afraid to walk. And if there wasn't anything on my right side to potentially grab if I needed it, then I would just freeze and I wouldn't walk anywhere. And my leg would feel like it was turning in, because the muscles do that anyways, but it felt like it was turning in more than it normally was. And I just wouldn't walk. I just was like, nope, I'm not going anywhere. I'm scared. I'm going to fall. So I had to go back into therapy for that. And then I started having more panic attacks over that. And it just took all the joy out of life. I wasn't able to get up and walk when I wanted to, for any sort of distance. Around the house I could, because there was always walls. There was always something there. It was closed in, but anything in open space was like, it was like the Twilight Zone. I didn't want to go out there. So that was, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can kind of understand how your mind went there. I mean, that has to be a very scary thing when you don't have control over the muscles of your body like you used to. And, you're out and you're suddenly like, what if somebody bumps into me and I fall and I can't get back up? And that's the kind of thing that my mind would go through anyway.
Yeah, and it sounds like
that's how I was. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it sounds like you kind of had a case of agoraphobia.
It was like that. I went to therapy and I had the same therapist for several years and she was fantastic. And when I went to see her, she took me on a walk around because, the therapy wing's in the hospital. So she took me for a walk around the lower levels of the hospital just to see what was happening. And I made it down the corridors pretty good. But then once she got me into the, I don't know what you call the foyer, the area where you do the check-in and there's couches, she got me in that area where it's open. And I couldn't even walk to her. It was like maybe 10 feet from the little, there was like a planter I was standing next to, because the planter I could grab onto. And I couldn't even turn and look at her because the space between seemed like a huge gap. And I couldn't even, and so that's when they recommended anxiety medication, and she calmed everything down for me. She's like, okay, for right now, we're just going to do exercises on the mat, and we're going to ease into this walking thing again. So I finally got over it and I'm better now, but
that's good.
For a while it was just madness, because I had just gotten to start walking, and getting back into that mindset of now being afraid to walk was so new to me. because I wasn't even afraid to walk when I first started getting up and, trusting in my muscles and my leg again. I wasn't afraid at the time, but my mind was playing such big tricks on me that the fear was real. It was like, I'm going to fall and nobody's here and I'm going to hurt myself. And it was just not fun.
Yeah, that has to be like supremely scary all the time.
Yeah.
I know others who have had, very, very similar fears that they would, never regain any use of, their affected side. And so it's like I've never been through it myself, but I can empathize with them just from the things that I've seen, in my line of work.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah, it was, I'd gone to a couple of the stroke, they had like meetings, for stroke, what would you call it? Like stroke. I hate the term stroke survivor. I don't know why. I just never, to me, it sounds weird. I don't know why, but they'd have like meetings for us for support. And, there were people in there that had lost their affected side was the side that they used, like they're right-handed, they lost their right side.
That would be brutal.
And I couldn't even imagine that. That would be so tough it's bad enough to lose your side that you don't use a lot, but to see people that, lost their dominant side was tough, but on that same level, going to those meetings was really strange because, and I understand being sad. I mean, when I went through the whole gamut of emotions after the stroke, but it was such a downer for me to be in those meetings because everybody looks so depressed. And I'm like, I can't do this because I'm trying to get better for the kids. I'm trying to keep this positive attitude, show the kids that you can keep a sense of humor and that you can keep yourself in this. It just was feeding me the wrong way. I couldn't deal with the sadness of it. And I give those people all the props in the world for what they were going through. We were all going through something similar. I just couldn't sit in there and feel down the whole time. It just wasn't my space and my personality to get into that headset, of feeling sad all the time. I had to kind of stay positive for the kids. And I didn't want anything of that nature to feed into my recovery. And that's all that I could, that's for a couple years, 3 years or so. That was all that was going on in my head was recovery, trying to get back to somewhat of a normal state as best I could.
And that's awesome that you were able to do that. The closest that I have that I can speak of is my mom. She fell right on Christmas Eve a few years ago. I can't remember. Maybe been about 5-6 years now. But she wound up having some pretty serious, a traumatic brain injury. She wound up bruising both frontal lobes, bruising the back of her brain, and also had bleeding on the brain. She almost died. She went into ICU, I think for about a month, maybe a little bit longer. And I visited her. I was able to visit her twice in that time. And both times she had no idea who I was. And I'm her firstborn. I was just a stranger in the room.
That's tough. That's really tough.
Yeah. At this point,
yeah,
she's about 80 to 85%, maybe 90% back.
That's good.
She still has, they pronounce it perseverance, even though it's spelled perseverance. A good example of it is like, one time I stayed the night over at my parents' house, brought the kids so they could have time with the grandkids. And I got up for breakfast and my mom was like, so do you want some like, Cheerios? It's like, we have regular Cheerios. We have Special K Cheerios. We have Captain Crunch Cheerios. She's trying to say cereal,
Yeah.
But her brain latched onto Cheerios, and we have to correct her. We understand it, but it's the only way that she's going to get better, and it still affects her to this day. She gets very exhausted very fast mentally.
Yeah.
Like, she can't hold a job anymore. Yeah, it's... So, but she has a very positive attitude. And like I say, there's a lot of power behind that, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you.
There really is. I mean, I had a friend come in when I was doing therapy at the nursing home. And one of the first things they had me do was I would put cardboard between my legs, and they would try to get me to move my hip, like slide my hip up in like a walking movement, and it was really hard. It was frustrating. I could do it a bit. And I had a friend come in, and he told me, I don't know, man, I think I would have just given up and just sat in the wheelchair and you really don't want to hear that. You just don't, you're like, no, that's not how this works. It's not going to be how it works. And it's not going to how I'm going to handle this or tackle this. I'm going to go through everything I can to get better or as better as I can for not only myself, but especially for the kids. I want them to see that this is not the end of something. You can go on and be you and still, live a really great life, even though you're handicapped. I didn't want them to ever see that I gave up. That was a big thing for me. And
one of the nice things I could say is that positive begets positive. If you have a positive attitude, your support group has a positive attitude. Mm-hmm. Just like negative begets negative. If you have a negative attitude, your support group's going to get a negative attitude.
Yeah. Right. That's why the phrase, stroke survivor, can kind of be taken negatively, because a lot of people can survive it, but a lot of people don't put in the extra work, because it is depressing. They do get down on themselves about it, and just kind of give up. And Jim's a freaking warrior. He didn't give up.
Right.
He fought through everything to regain his abilities and be there for his kids and stuff, and that's admirable as hell.
Yeah, I would say that Jim's not a stroke survivor; he's a stroke thriver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because anyone that survives a stroke, just okay, you made the bare minimum. You survived it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what are you going to do after? What are you gonna take from this, and what are you going to bring to the table?
Just like,
and that's how I look at it. I always wanted to help other people. That was the thing. I'm going to bring it back around to Jim Henson real quick. So some of the things I learned from him was, what are you going to show people? What are you going to teach people? What are you going to do for people? I've always wanted to do those things that he did, show the good in the world, show the good of things, show that, there is humor in a lot of things. There's, I can't say enough about that guy to where.
We have a comment. Anna says, he's my hero, heart emoji.
I know who that is.
I knew you would. That's why I had to break in and tell you what she said.
She's also my hero. So good she's listening.
Aww.
Hi, Anna.
She was quick to jump in. I was like, oh, hey, new listener. I was like, I bet you it's someone that knows Jim.
Yeah. She's my perfect. She's been keeping me afloat and keeping me laughing and smiling.
And she is just gushing over you right now.
Anna,
yes.
She just said that you're the most amazing man that she's ever met.
Thank you, Anna. She's the most amazing woman I've ever met. She's my everything right now.
I would think that this might be your girlfriend.
It is, yes.
Just a hunch.
Wait, Anna who? I'm confused.
How many Annas are you dating?
No. I want to see what she's putting up there now.
Oh,
her first.
Javern just said, "I
Anna
can't
1,
believe
Anna
how
2.
strong this dude is."
I did see when she first joined in, her last name was in the chat, but since removed the last name, so I'm just going to leave it that way.
Yeah, no, I know who it is. I know.
Yeah.
because she said she was going to be listening tonight. So I'm just trying to mess with her from afar because she's in Texas. She's in Texas. I'm here in California, so it's the best thing I can do.
It's kind of like how Betsy and I are, except that we're not dating. We're both married to someone else.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's my
he is
non-bio
my
sister.
non-biological brother who lives in California that I have yet to meet.
Yep.
Well, I'll be in Texas in next month, so we'll have to meet up sometime.
I have a bag full of Muppets for you.
Yay!
Now, of course, Texas is a big state, just like California is a big state. Just simply saying,
Yeah.
I'm going to be in California. Okay, where?
Yeah.
Where?
Even if they say Southern, you're like, okay, where? Because
Right.
it's still a pretty big span of place here. So
Oh, even northern. I lived in Mount Shasta originally, then I moved to San Diego, now I'm in the Sacramento area.
oh, okay, so you've kind of been all over.
Yeah, I've stomped around the state.
Yeah. I've been all Southern, but I've been in all different parts of Southern. I've lived mostly in Ventura. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but who cares?
I love Ventura.
Yeah, it's my hometown. It's my heart. You know, I love being there. I was born there. Shout out to Ventura.
Nice.
But I lived in Orange County. Now I live in the high desert out by like Lancaster, Palmdale, which is like
Okay.
the armpit of California. It's like seriously the armpit. It's just bad out here. I'm sorry for anybody that's listening that lives.
Yeah,
in
at
the
least
valley.
it's not Stockton. That's the butthole.
Is it really that bad?
I've been to Palmdale. My
So-
sister used to live there.
Just
Oh,
to
really?
put in perspective, Forbes did a list of it was called the Miserable Index for the nation's most miserable cities. Stockton won every year as as the nation's most miserable city until they changed the curriculum.
Wow.
Yeah, Stockton. I'm sorry,
so now
Stockton.
I have to check out Stockton.
Ooh, man.
I want to take a little vacation time in Stockton just to see.
Stockton
What
is
it's
not
like.
safe. There's areas, of course, like any place, there are safe areas, but Stockton's like kind of the
Yeah.
invert where it's a bad area with some good places as opposed to a good area with some bad places.
Oh, okay, so good places sprinkled in.
Yeah, Stockton
Yeah.
is scary.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we'll probably have some
I-
listeners from Stockton going, it's not that bad. Duck a
They're like,
bullet. Duck a bullet.
Yeah. Listen to these assholes judging us here in Stockton. And I've never been, so now I'm like, oh, okay. I can't say too much about Stockton.
I felt more comfortable in Compton at 2 a.m. than I did at Stockton at 2 a.m.
Huh. That's interesting.
Just
That's-
to put in
yeah,
perspective.
Yeah.
Noted.
So I'll keep those checked off. Stockton's definitely on my list now to kind of go check out to see the danger.
Yeah, kind of like in the Sacramento area, there's oh god, what's the name of that place? I had it and it just went poof, just disappeared. There was this one neighborhood. It was like the most uppity up, richy rich neighborhood in the area before the interstates came through. And then once the interstates came through, it has become the most dangerous part of Sacramento. It's like it's Oak something.
Oh, not Oakland.
No.
Not Oakland. Oakville.
Austin just said
It's like
Stockton.
Oakview or Oakmont or something.
You know, I'm gonna add everything. Everything is gonna start with Oak, and it's gonna end with something else, like Oakland, Oakville, Oak City. It's got to be one of those, right?
Oak City.
Actually, Austin's in the chat, and he might actually know what I'm talking about. Oak Park, that's it. I knew he would
Oak
know.
Park. Okay.
I was going to say, Austin just said Stockton, where your homeowner's insurance comes with free bulletproof vests.
Austin knows.
Does,
I used to work with Austin.
does he live there?
I think he did for a time.
Okay. Yeah. So he's got like first-hand knowledge about how bad it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you live in Sacramento, you're commuting distance from Stockton. A lot of people from
Yeah.
Stockton commute to Sacramento for work.
I know, like I lived in Camarillo for a while through high school, and like that's a pretty sleepy little mellow
I
California
like
town.
Camarillo.
Yeah, but there was like one bad street. I think it was called Berry Street, and it was like stay away from that one street, because we were a bunch of skaters, so we would go around everywhere, but everybody was like, no, stay off that street. So
That bad,
we
huh?
never knew actually if it was that bad or not. We just was like, okay, it's bad, we'll stay away.
There's this alleyway that we had in my hometown that it was like my hometown. It's a town of like 3,500 people. And when I say alleyway, it's not really necessarily an alleyway. It's just a vehicle could fit on it, but it goes through like this really thick willow area and like tall reeds and stuff. And it was just the creepiest place to go. It was up by the middle school. And like my friends and I, we would like literally just get ourselves just revved up and scare the shit out of each other before we go through there. And we'd like go through there and we'd go through there as fast as we could, terrified of what our imagination was saying.
Yeah.
We have no idea if it was really that bad, but we thought so.
But your imagination just plays it up so much. You're like, it's similar to when you watch a scary movie and then you have to leave where you're at and go back to like, say, your house. I had that happen after The Exorcist, my first viewing of The Exorcist.
Ooh.
I was at a friend's house. I was at a friend's house at night.
Oh man.
And, and my friend happened to be a girl, so I couldn't stay the night. Like, I'm scared. I can't go anywhere. I got to stay the night. So I had to skate home. And my house was like 2 blocks away, maybe. But because it was dark out and because I was skating, going through this little park and the wheels would hit all the cracks and it would echo through the park, I freaked myself out and I picked my board up and ran the rest of the way home. Like so it's similar to that. You hear all these things and you just want to get through that area as fast as possible.
Yep.
So
it's like when I was a kid and I would watch scary movies and then I would have to go to bed and I'd be like, okay, how fast can I turn off the light and jump into bed and under the covers before anything gets me because something's under my bed? I know this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
she was going to say something.
Yeah, as younger kids, me and my niece and like some of her friends watched The Grudge 3.
Uh-huh.
Everyone fell asleep except for me, and I stayed awake till I don't even know how long because they didn't have a clock, just watching and waiting. Her grandma came out and was like, "Hey, see, why are you awake?" I'm like, "I'm looking for The Grudge." Ever since, I've been afraid of like stuff underneath the bed, like.
Yeah.
I scared the living shit out of my oldest after he watched The Grudge. We all watched The Grudge, and he was like, "I'm not afraid. I'm not scared." So I was outside his door. And I started to do the. I can't do it right now. My throat's too dry.
Death rattle.
That little.
The death rattle.
And then he's like, "You're not scaring me, Dad." Then I opened the door and I came in all hunched over, walking around all jerkily, and he just boom, farthest wall, back up against it. And to this day, he's like, "I wasn't that scared." I was like, "Dude, you almost wet yourself. You were against the wall, and the blanket was still in the air."
Let's see.
So
one of my. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of my sisters used to be. She was very easy to get freaked out, and she would walk into her room and see her younger, my older brother under the bed. And she would be telling him, "I see you under there. Get out from under there. I know you're under my bed.
No, you
You're
don't.
not going to scare me."
Yes, I am.
And then she'd go sit down on her bed and he'd grab her ankles and she'd still scream.
So she was...
And freak out, run out of the room. But...
I don't
guess
know
that's what brothers are for, because she did that stuff to me too.
So, well, sisters do that. I don't know if my sister's listening right now, but if she is, shout out to my sister. But so she would babysit me when, she was 4.5 years older than I am. And she would babysit me, but she would also have to have a friend babysit me too at the same time, because she wasn't old enough technically to, watch me by herself. So they would, we would do our, hang out, eat food, and then they'd put me to bed. And one night, one of her friends, we lived in a mobile home, so all the windows were thin and high up on the, in the room. And one of their friends looked into my window with a witch mask on.
Oh my
and
god!
I was probably
No.
like 4 or 5 years old, maybe 3, 4, something like that. And it freaked me out. So I would line my bed with all my stuffed animals around the whole edge of my bed. So like, because that's protection. They're not
Yep.
going to let anything.
Yes.
Yep, they're gonna watch.
Yes.
One would
I'm
fall
so
off.
glad
like-
someone else had this logic.
I used
It's
to do it
just like
too.
if you're in the middle of your bed and completely under the covers, the monsters can't get you.
Especially when your stuffed animals have a 365-degree coverage of the room.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
When I used to
It's like-
sleep on the floor, I had like a ring of stuffed animals around me to protect me.
Like when I used to sleep on the floor, that's up there. I was like, yeah, when I used to sleep in the oven. Just wait, why were you sleeping on the floor? You don't have to answer.
Oh, just because we would have family members over sometimes.
Yeah.
And we would like to stay out in our quote-unquote toy room. It wasn't really a toy room. And we like to stay there, and we had glass, like, doors, and you could kind of see out. And so we'd be terrified and think the monsters were going to come get us. Rings of stuffed animals. It works.
And like one would fall off the bed, and then I would be
Ooh.
afraid to reach down and grab it because something would be under the bed to grab my arm. So it would take me like 10 minutes to like grab Kermit or whomever fell off the bed, and
It's just sit there
put 'em back.
psyching yourself up.
Yeah,
If I go fast enough.
Yes,
like I gotta save Kermit. They're gonna steal his soul.
Yep.
exactly.
The minds of a young
Exactly.
child.
I know, and I really haven't lost that, even though I don't line my bed with stuffed animals anymore. But my
Me
room is
neither.
filled with Muppets and Godzilla and all kinds of things. So I feel I'm fully protected from all the bad things out there with all my Muppets surrounding me, and that's maybe that's why I keep them around, because I'm still afraid of my sister's friends and their witch masks.
That's a traumatic experience, especially when you're that
Yeah.
young.
Hey, I
It's horrible.
still have teddy bears and penguins and baby Yodas all over my room. So
Anna just said, yes, he does, about all the animals.
Yeah.
So now here's the question.
Yes.
The monster in the closet. Did you sleep facing the closet or away from the closet?
I don't remember. I know for the most part, I think I just slept in the middle of the room, not facing the closet at all. Like it was weird. I'm trying to think of, because way back then, it's hard to remember how my room was really set up as far as where the closet was. But yeah, I probably didn't really face the closet. I probably had it on the side of me or something. And back then, hopefully it was more like a Sully and Mike experience with the monsters in the closet. Like I could handle Sully coming out and trying to scare me. But I was never
I'm
really.
gonna hide in the closet with my Sully onesie on one day.
Yeah, you're gonna end up doing that, aren't you? And I'm gonna be like,
Yes.
oh, it's Sully.
Get someone to be Mike. Get someone to be Mike with you.
Yeah.
And then
Right,
instead of
I
saying
know.
soul, you go, kitty!
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, here's kid logic for me. I slept with my back to the closet because I didn't want to have my eyes open and see the monster. But yeah,
Right.
just turn my
'Cause-
back to it and let it go ahead and just ravage me in my sleep without me knowing it's coming. But hey!
As long as you don't see it, it's fine,
Yeah.
because sneak attacks are way better than like a frontal attack. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it.
Well,
Uh,
what really has freaked me out as an adult is I realized that the things that used to scare me as a child that I would see in the darkness were kind of real because of the whole I can see spirits thing.
Yeah.
And realizing as an adult that what I saw as a child was like that, was like, oh, okay, now I realize why I was freaked out most of my childhood, just sleep in a dark room, and it wasn't just because I was crazy, it's because okay, I can see. things. So yeah.
I used to have my bed would be like pressed against the wall where we used to live, so I'd have my back like completely up against the wall so that nothing could be behind me and get me.
Yeah,
And
that's how I am now. Nothing can
I
get me
was
behind the wall.
seriously like afraid.
No, we didn't have anxiety as children. None of us.
No, not at all. And my sister and her friends didn't contribute to any of this. I'm just gonna blame them. Like, I'm gonna blame them for all of it.
Yeah, no, my parents, they didn't, go outside after a thunderstorm with flashlights and start flashing them in my windows. No, not at all. My parents would never do that.
That's
My
good.
dad had a mask in his closet.
Oh God.
And I remember one day we were trying to get something out of it, probably snacks, and it fell down.
Whoa.
I was out of that room faster than you could say A.
Nope, do not like.
Exactly. I was really little. I was crying. That scared me so bad.
I wonder if they set it up like that. Like, it was a little trigger wire for you when you go in there. This mask falls, and they're not going in there again. We'll make sure that never happens again.
Genius.
Yeah.
My parents, they had this sculpture. It was made out of like old bicycle parts and car parts called Mean Man. And this thing had really bad balance, so it would fall over on occasion if you mess with it. And yeah, it would smash the living shit out of your toes. This thing, just looking at it, gave me nightmares as a kid. Looking at it now as an adult, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And it even has a little spigot where the penis is. So,
Huh. So it's anatomically correct also.
yes, it is. But as a kid,
That's
it
nice.
scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an 11 or 12-year-old, I remember watching this movie called Dolly Dearest. And this is a horror movie about a porcelain doll that comes to life. And literally, like, a week after watching this movie and having it scare the bejesus out of me, my grandmother sent me a porcelain doll for my birthday that looked suspiciously like the doll from this movie. I could not sleep in the room with this thing.
Wait.
I would like turn it around and make it face the wall before I would go to bed, or throw a shirt over it because I didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night and see it staring at me with its dead eyes.
But honey, you're being so rude to your grandmother by disrespecting the gift like this. Let's go ahead and just set up next to your bed so it watches over you while you sleep.
Yeah.
No!
You know what?
I still
That's
hate movies
fair
with dolls
enough.
that comes to life.
Like, I'm afraid of dolls, like, to the point where if there's a Barbie doll and it's just sitting there, like, I feel like it's watching me. Like,
Yeah.
I will just leave it there and I'll watch it.
And meanwhile, Anna said, I have this strange urge to apologize to my little brother. And I had to reply back, as the oldest cousin, I feel the same urge for my sister and a few of my cousins.
I've heard stories, so but I'll let Anna tell those stories if she ever wants to, but they're pretty funny. There's some good. She tortured her little brother pretty good, but in a healthy, brother sister kind of way. Just
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Hey,
go for it.
hey, Bexy, I was thinking maybe your grandma was like a good punker. She was a good she knew you watched that movie, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her this doll, and have her no, she didn't.
No, not my grandma.
Oh,
My grandma
man.
just generally didn't care for me.
Anna was saying that the torture was worth it. I would love to get my sister on, but I don't think it would be much of a mental health podcast, as it would just be going through the shit we used to do to each other.
Yeah.
And we tormented each other. Like, my sister is just a very strong-willed individual. And one story she liked to tell, she's 3.5 years younger than me. But we had a dog kennel. We called it the dog pen. And I had to, go and scoop the poop, muck it.
Yeah.
And I was in a rotten mood because I had to go and do it, and it was hot and summertime and blah, blah, blah. And I got the wheelbarrow filled, and I was going to go take it to the compost pile, and my sister was standing on the gate. And I'm like, move. And she went, no. And my sister was always a little bit on the heavier side, so I, made an insult about her weight, that she needs to move. And she said no again, and she had a mouthful of chocolate chip cookies. She spit it at me.
Oh.
She said the look on my face was the first time she ever felt that she was going to die. And the adrenaline I had, I was able to basically throw the gate open with her on it. She goes running into the house screaming, "Dad! He's gonna kill me!" I'm like, hell yeah, I am.
Because you started it, babe. No. Like she's going to throw it out there that, oh, he started it.
But the revenge, I could say, that happened, it was one of those, it was like a karmic revenge. It was in the same, month. We were going to dig out a fire pit. We were going to dig this deep, wide hole in the ground that's basically just rocks with a little bit of dirt in between. So, yeah, that didn't get very far. And we got into an argument over something stupid, and she went running to the house. And you know how in cartoons when you step on a rake, the pole comes up and smacks you right in the face?
Yeah.
Happened exactly like that. And I couldn't help but bust out laughing because it was so perfect Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And right at that moment, that classical music plays in your head.
Oh, and I got so much trouble for laughing at that. But I was like, but it was funny.
Yeah. Come on. You gotta laugh at that because it's perfect timing. It's comedic. It's very Looney Tunes. So it's funny. Yeah.
But I mean, we did some awful things to each other. Like she had this doll. It had a plastic head, plastic hands and feet, but it was like plush otherwise. And it had those eyes that, when it lays down, the eyes close. When it's sitting up, the eyes open. Those weighted eyes. Well, I took her blanket that she always carried around, and we called her the baby, Big Baby. And I took the blanket, turned it into like a rope, wrapped it around the baby's neck, and hung it from a sprinkler in our garden area. And the eyes were half lidded.
Wow.
Oh my.
That reminds me of stories like what my older sister used to do to our late sister. She convinced her doll was haunted. She gave her a sandwich with rubber cheese.
Aww.
She said she had orangutan titty disease. And that really happened. She told me and my late sister that we were found under rocks.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
She had a lot more torment than me.
Those kind of things remind me of like what Anna was just saying about her and her brother, her doing things to her brother like that, like trying to convince him of certain issues that he, that he has this or this is what's wrong, and it's hilarious.
One of my favorites is "You were adopted."
Yeah.
Yep.
No, my response to that would be, I was chosen. They're stuck with you.
Actually, with my oldest, I kind of had to do that because my ex-wife and I, at the time, he was 6 years old and we were about to have a baby. And he was so afraid because I had been the only dad that he knew since he was 13 months old. So I'm the only dad he knows, but he knew that I'm not his biological dad. And he was so scared that when the baby was born, that I wouldn't love him anymore. And I was like, look, I was like, I fell in love with you before I even fell in love with your mom. It's like you are the reason that I fell in love with your mom. And it's like, and it's like with your mom and with the baby coming, it's like I'm stuck with them. I choose you every single day. And I will never stop choosing you every single day. He is now in his he's officially in his late 20s. And he has a kid of his own. He still calls me dad. Last time that he had to move back home, he moved in with me instead of moving in with his mom. We're still super tight.
That's good. That's a really cool story. That's awesome.
I love that little shit. But the funny thing was, he was redheaded, And I always said, I'm going to treat you like what you are. And he's like, a redheaded stepchild?
I would always tell my youngest that we had the other two to replace her if she ever like if she ever messed up too bad. But she always found the humor in that, hopefully. I don't know if she's listening, but hi, oldest one. I don't want to give out any names.
Yeah, my two youngest right now, they're 6 and 4. They're both the result of IVF. So they're technically fraternal twins because they were both fertilized in the same hour. But one was put in a cryofreeze for 2 years. I'm just waiting for the oldest to tell the youngest, you're just simply body parts for me in case something fails. That's going to be years down the road, but I see that coming.
Oh, I can see that with... Yeah.
Yeah, she's a little fireball, and she's a total sweetheart, but she can say some of the meanest shit. At 6 years old.
Well, she is her daddy's child, so she comes by the smart ass naturally.
Oh yeah, and he is definitely he's a clone of me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. It finally happened. I hope one day you have a kid just like you.
Yeah.
Oh my
honestly,
god, yes, I've heard that so many times.
It's pretty awesome. And
it is. I mean, I see in all three of my kids, I see me in all three of them. Some things not so great, like the procrastination or, things like that. But then, there's artwork with one of them. She loves to draw and she loves to catch animals, which I love to do too. I like to go out and I would
little
like to
amphibian queen there.
Yeah, exactly. She catches her frogs and her toads and her salamanders. So,
nice.
And that's all what I see from me. And it's just awesome to see it.
Well,
I see the way, your middle one likes to cook.
Yeah, he does a lot.
And help in the kitchen and everything. And I know he gets that from you.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat.
And now he's even talking about culinary schools. So that's kind of fun too.
All right, Kat, cover your ears for 10 seconds. I have a pet black widow out in my office where I do my podcast. And my 4 and 6-year-old absolutely love coming in here and helping me feed her.
What do you guys feed it? Like flies and bugs? And...
We'll go to the pet store and get crickets when they're sparse.
Okay.
But anything we could catch in the wild, we will.
Yeah.
Lately, there's been we have English ivy that's blooming right now in freaking December. And all the yellow jackets are just going crazy for it. What a lot of people don't realize is that adult yellow jackets only eat nectar. They gather meat for the larva. They don't actually eat the meat themselves. But I'm allergic to them, so a lot of them have been finding their way to the black widow.
Webony is very happy.
And I'm that's safe.
She likes to catch the frogs and toads, and then they have like an escape hatch for the for the basement, and it's basically a hole in the ground, and she keeps them all in there during the summer, gives them water, and then goes out and catches bugs and throws the bugs in there for them.
Oh,
she's got it out.
So they're living their best life.
Yeah, she's basically got an outdoor terrarium for them, and they get fed. It's perfect.
Of course, Calvin and Hobbes said it best about frogs. He's like, hey, Hobbes, you want to go catch frogs? Hobbes is like, no. He's like, why? Because they sit in water all day. Like, so? Like, do you know why they sit and drink water all day? What do frogs and toads do when you pick them up?
Yeah, they pee all the time.
Yep, that's their defense.
That's what, she doesn't mind it. She's like, oh, they just peed on me. I'm going to go wash up.
Yeah.
And she's just like, she's so into it. She's so into those creatures that she does none of that bothers her. She's like, I'll just go wash up afterwards. I'm going to just play with these guys. So
I used to take carpenter ants and get them to bite my nails and then let go, and they would just say they're latched on. I'd have 10 carpenter ants on all 10 of my nails. But the thing is that I didn't realize as a kid was that they actually exudes fomic acid as an attack thing. They will literally burn the living shit out of things that come near them. But for us humans, it's like nothing. But I will say this. It tastes awful. Like,
So
have
you
you
don't want
ever?
to go around making those carpenter ant omelets.
No. Like, have you ever
That's
accidentally
something
tasted earwax? You know, you go clean
I
your
can't
ear.
say
I'd
I
have
can't say I have.
cleared my
Is that
ears
like-
unconsciously, and then like an hour later, I'm like, oh, okay, I'd like get something to go to eat, and I'm like, ugh.
But I eat. Is it like a does wax taste like a carpenter ant?
Carpenter ants are worse, but it has the same
Oh,
kind of undertone.
Zing.
Yeah.
Has same kind of zing. In the culinary world, we call it zing. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, one of you two have to go and read Anna's comment. It is amazing.
Let me see if I
Okay.
can find it. I used to catch frogs and put them on my brother. Oh wait, I still do.
Yeah, that's right. Her brother does not like frogs, and
Anna-
that's the one.
Anna is based.
That's the one bad thing about him. Yeah.
I remember where we used to live because we would catch frogs and like release them. We found one that was about the size of a Big Mac.
Uh-huh,
He was
yeah, big-
huge. We released him into the ivy, but that was pretty cool to see.
Bullfrog.
Yeah, I used to catch a bunch of those bullfrogs. One I caught, and it was missing an eye and a front leg, but it was still alive, so it must have been attacked by something, some kind of animal.
Probably another bullfrog.
Yeah, something like that. And so this is how I was with these animals, though. Because we had a dog, so we had a vet. So I caught him and I took him to the vet, and I'm like, "Is there anything you can do to help me with this animal? I want to make sure he's okay." So he gave me some antibiotic ointment to rub on his eye and his foot, or the stump, and I did it every day, like 3 times a day. I would just take care of this frog until he passed. He passed, which had made me sad. I was like, "Oh, I couldn't help him. I couldn't save him. Oh, I'm not as good of a frog person as I thought I was."
Frogs don't live
So-
that long.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah. As
looking
a
at him, I
kid.
felt bad. Like I was a kid, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna name him, whatever I named him, and he's gonna be okay." Put him in my little aquarium. And took care of him.
I actually had a poison dart frog, a green and
Ooh,
black.
those are cool.
Yeah, and
Those are really cool.
its name was Mr. Green Jeans.
I was like, anybody get a bullfrog and name it Jeremiah?
That's too easy.
Yeah.
You got to name something
Yeah,
fun.
I know. That's why I would do it, though.
Oom, oom. That's the sound they make,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, they go boom, boom. Yeah.
First time you ever hear it, too, it's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, it's so weird. And then when you hear it have a bunch of them in one area doing that, it's so loud. It's so.
But it's
it's
so cool.
It is. It's very cool.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, oh, tree frogs are cute. Yeah, have you ever had 100 of them croaking on your property before?
It's
They're
loud.
loud.
It is loud.
Oh yeah.
I caught several bullfrogs up in Washington, probably 5, 6, 7 maybe, and I had them in one tank, and a bunch of them escaped
Boom.
because they were out in the back. They were out in the backyard, so it was fine. They were still out in the backyard, but in Washington State, I didn't realize how fast the grass grows. Like, because we had just bought our house and we moved from an apartment to a house, so we didn't have any yard equipment at all. So the grass, the literal grass in the backyard, was probably waist high on me. Like, I didn't know what to do with it. I was like a dumb Southern Californian, apartment liver where you don't have to deal with these things. So I was like, what am I going to do with it? And so the frogs got loose, and our neighbor to the back of us, they were actually landscapers, and the lady offered to come and weed whack the grass down for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, come over. So she's weed whacking, and one of the frogs jumps out at her, and it scares the crap out of her. And I walk over to, oh, that's mine. I grab it, and she's looking at me like I'm just the weirdest person on the face of the earth. Oh, that's mine. I'll take it.
No, seriously, the grass in Washington, you can almost watch it grow. It is so
You can't.
fast.
It's so crazy. It's insane how fast the grass grows there.
Yeah, if you put a ruler on the ground and check it, like in the morning, and then check it again in the evening, you will see the difference. It grows that fast.
Yeah. Like I kill most plants, but there I was able to grow like a grapevine, a bunch of strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, like everything grew there. Like I didn't even have to do much. I just planted it and like let it go, and everything would go. So it was nice.
Anna just said, all my kids think the tooth fairy is a frog. And I just told her that we need to be friends.
My God. I
She
love
told me
that.
that story. She said it's a great story. I love that. Because why not? Why not have the tooth fairy be a frog?
I actually created a kid's story called Blue Frog. I need to get it published one day.
You have to.
I have to. It was my oldest. I was putting him to bed one night, and I'll admit, back then I was stoned, and he wanted a story. He had this little stuffed blue frog, and I came up with one on the spot, and I've been telling it ever since. All of my kids have been put to bed with that story, and my youngest ones, they request it almost every night.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to publish that story.
Yeah, I really should.
Did we cover enough anxiety on this?
We haven't talked a lot. Yeah, we really. I was just thinking that too.
Frogs.
We got very
Frogs.
sidetracked.
I might have to rename this episode "Anxiety and Frogs."
Yeah.
Just call it Ribbit.
Yeah.
So,
I
mean, is there anything that, like, any stories you wanted to share, or talk about impacts? I mean, we already have kind of an idea, but anything like specific that you wanted to cover?
With anxiety,
or anything that's related to the stroke and how it impacted you.
Yeah, I think this with a stroke, my ex and I probably should have gone to some sort of therapy, after the stroke happened, just to try and get some things, figured out in that area of mental stuff and anxiety, and but that never happened. And I just think that anxiety is such a common thing that's not really looked out for as it should be. It's kind of brushed off by some people, or it's not taken seriously by some people, and it hurts that person more than you'd think, being brushed off and not being taken seriously, or maybe understanding but not showing the understanding about it. And sometimes you just need hugs. That's a big thing for me. Sometimes when you're going through all of that, sometimes you just need a hug, and sometimes you need somebody just to say, "Hey, I'm here and everything's okay. I understand. I may not understand what you're going through, but I can see that you're going through it, and I'm here for you." That's kind
suffers.
Yeah. Everybody has their version of something in that world. Anxiety, stress, panic attacks. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that? Am I doing enough? That was my thing. And I still think that way every day with stroke, because I can still say I'm still recovering, and I should still be doing more. I should still be doing stretches every day, but you just fall into routines. You fall into your daily routine of whatever it is, and the stretches and stuff like that kind of fall to the wayside.
So here's something that helps. Here's something that helped me on dealing with the things that I should do, because I have a rebellious spirit. I think you might have it too. Telling myself I should do something makes me want to rebel against myself. So what I was told is, instead of saying should, I invite myself to do this. I invite myself to do more stretches. I mean, you can almost feel the difference immediately just by saying it differently. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, I could do that. I suppose I should do that, and I'm not going to.
Yeah. Because an invitation is like, oh, I've been invited to eat this great dinner. You could. It's in that realm of like, oh, I've been invited to go to Disneyland. Right. So I might jump in that pool and go to Disneyland. So I'm going to start telling myself that I'm inviting you to get down on the floor and do your exercises.
And I mean, I'm sure you feel better afterwards, endorphins and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Kind of like I invite myself to drink more water. Ooh, my liver would love that.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a half a bottle of wine and haven't drank much water, so I'm going to invite myself to drink more water.
I need to do that too.
Yeah. Bexy's crying.
It does help. Who's crying?
Bexy.
Lexi?
Oh,
No, they're good tears. She
Yeah,
cries
they're
on a lot
good.
of episodes.
I cry probably every episode. This time it's Anna that made me cry because when you were talking about sometimes you just need a hug, she said, "I'll hug you forever."
Aww.
My eyes got a little misty on that too. That was the most tender, sweetest thing.
she's the most awesome person in the whole wide world.
And I've seen Steve
can
wipe
tell.
her eyes a couple times tonight.
I've been wiping like right here.
Yeah, what's going on?
It's a little
It's an
oily
itch.
from wearing the glasses.
Yeah, it's an itch. It's allergies or something. That's what I would. It's allergies.
I haven't worn glasses in years. LASIK surgery!
See, I always wanted to get that.
It's
I
awesome!
do. But I do enjoy my glasses, but I want to get the LASIK surgery.
You can always get the glasses with the flat glasses. Like, you still have glasses, but they're not corrective.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can still look cool. I think my oldest used to like wear fake glasses, and I would joke with her like, you can't do that because you don't really wear glasses. I take offense to it. As a glasses wearer, I take offense to wearing fake glasses.
I used to take my daughter's glasses and lick them and put them back on her face. Well, she used to
That's the worst.
Well, she started it by wetting her finger and going across my lens. I'm like,
Oh.
you want to do that? Grab it, lick. Here you go. But now that I have LASIK, it's like, yeah, you want to try that? You're going to poke me in the eye, and I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah. Don't try to lick my eye.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about.
Meanwhile, there's people out there going, don't you kink shame me?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I know that's a thing.
Oh, I know too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It is a thing.
Yes, I saw a comic on it, and it's the thing that haunts me. Like, I can see it vividly, like, in my head.
Uh-huh.
Like,
It's a thing.
It's a thing. All right, going to Google
Yes.
now. Hold on, I'll be right back.
yeah, like
Oh, God.
feet people. I don't understand feet people. I don't understand water sports people. But the licking of the eyeballs is, woo. There's just something about that. It's just it's
Why?
It's not even like it's another level. It's just a different level that's a little more uncomfortable for me.
Oh
God.
Glasses, BRB.
Anna's gonna go lick her child's glasses.
I love that woman.
She cracks me up. She's so funny.
I like her. I gotta be friends with her. I gotta be friends with you too. I like you
Yeah.
guys a lot. Like, seriously. Great vibes from both of you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I
Anytime
know
you want
awesome people.
I'll be on. Let's just have like themes of like Muppets and frogs, and we'll sprinkle in the anxiety and stroke related things here and there.
Austin just dropped this. I forgot about this. In the 90s rave scene, eye licking was super popular.
Oh my God! Really?
Man.
Yeah.
I'm
never
glad I
for me.
wasn't born in the 90s.
I
I
actually raved in the 90s. I forgot about that.
I went through the '90s, but I never raved in the '90s.
I went
was
to a
more.
couple.
I don't even think I went to one. I was. My favorite bands in the '90s were like Faith No More, Mr.
Ooh!
Bungle. So I was.
You have no idea how much I love Faith No More.
They are
Oh.
always one of my
Yeah,
top
he's-
fans.
I am a huge Mike Patton fan. Although
Yeah, so am I.
Nine Inch Nails is my favorite band, Faith No More is a close second. Very close second.
I was gonna
I forget-
post this. Oh, go ahead.
I
Go
forgot
ahead.
to mention that to you either. He's a big music freak too.
Oh.
Yeah, I am. I'm a huge music freak. In fact, because I'm packing stuff up now, so because I'm going to move to Texas, but then we're moving back to Minnesota so that I can be close to the kids. But so I'm packing things here to make that bigger move later. So I was going through because I still have hundreds of CDs, and I forgot I had this CD. It's called Hemophiliac, and it's Mike Patton, John Zorn, and I'm not even going to pronounce her name right, so I'm not even going to try it. She's a Japanese musician, and it's signed by all three of them. I forgot I even had that.
Oh,
I'm seeing the jealous on the face.
And here I've got a couple Mike Patton stories. Do we have time to tell Mike Patton stories? I don't know how long this goes.
We're only halfway through our allotted time. We don't have to do the full time, but yeah, we're about halfway.
Okay, I'm gonna have to plug in then, because I don't want my battery to die. Anyway, so Mike Patton stories. So on the Angel Dust tour, my friends and I would always make sure that we showed up to shows early, just so we could try to meet people. And so the Angel Dust tour, they played this really small venue in Santa Barbara called the Anaconda. And we didn't even expect them to play this place. It's so small. It's like a one room place. It's like a dive bar that doesn't serve alcohol, because they didn't have any alcohol there. But it's like pipes hanging from the walls, like you could see all the piping. And so they played there. We showed up hours early, and Faith No More's bus pulled in, and they all get out, and we're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?" And I went up to Mike, and I'm like, "Hey," and he goes, "Hey, do you know of any good food in this area?" And I lived in Camarillo and didn't really know much about Santa Barbara at the time, and this was in Isla Vista, so right by UCSB. So I didn't know much of the food. I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm willing to go walk around and find some with you, because I'm kind of hungry." He's like, "Okay, come on." So we start walking around Isla Vista. We end up going into a record store, and he shows me this compilation CD of covers, and Henry Rollins is on. He's like, "Yeah, it's a really good album. I'm going to buy it. You should get it too." And then I showed him this magazine. It was like a fanzine with an article from the Mr. Bungle show that was the year before. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember this show." And I go, "Yeah, I was there. And it was one of the most memorable shows I've ever been to." And so we didn't find any food. So we walked back to the venue, and he's like, "Well, I'll just eat here, and I'll get you guys passes, and you guys can hang out inside before we go on." And so I got to hang out in the venue and watch the lighting, and I got to hang out. Does anybody remember the band Caius? It was pre Queens of the Stone Age. So it had Josh Homme, a couple other guys from Queens in Caius, because they were from the desert, Palm Springs area too. They were sitting around talking to us, but at the time we didn't know. Obviously, they were going to become Queens of the Stone Age. They were just Caius at the time. But that was a lot of fun. Then I've met him a couple other times at Mr. Bungle shows and at Phantomas shows, and yeah, he's a really cool guy. Like,
I've heard that he's just the coolest dude. I've always heard that.
People sometimes give him a bad rap, but he was always cool to me. Every time I talked to him, he was always cool.
He's a little unusual.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
But look at what he does.
Yeah,
and look how dedicated he is to his craft.
I know, and it's just it's amazing the output he has, and how different everything is. Like one of my favorite albums is him and this Italian composer just came out a couple years ago, and it's just wonderful. The whole album is just fantastic.
Please tell me you've listened to Peeping Tom.
Yes, I have that, and I saw them open for
such a great album.
I saw them open for somebody at the Orange County Fairgrounds, and it was a great show. But that album is fantastic.
All I have to hear is the doom doom doom. Yeah, just like mojo.
Oh no, I got my battery saver thing. Come on, hold on. Let me plug in. Hopefully this will last a little bit longer. So this has been really fun, because I'm talking about all of my favorite things: frogs, Mike Patton, music, Muppets, anxiety.
I don't know how anxiety is a favorite thing, but okay.
Well, it's not a favorite thing, but I get to talk about it, so that's a good thing. Pass along some things to other people.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's the talking that's the good thing.
It is, yeah. It's always a good thing.
It's like if you actually met me in person, I could be like the most relaxed and cool, chill guy. Other times I could just be so anxiety ridden. I'm just like, hi, turn around, walk away. It's like, no, not today.
I don't want to deal with you right now. I'm not dealing with this. I'm out of here. Yeah.
It's like, people.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about me though, is my anxiety doesn't go towards social too much. Like I'm a pretty
Good.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm a pretty friend. I don't know how to say friendly. That sounds kind of weird, but like I'm open to talking to pretty much anybody. Mine usually just stems from the stroke related things of worrying about my health. You know, like, oh God, what's this pain in my side? You know, and it's probably just me getting older. But you know, to my brain, it's something worse. You know, but
right.
Like, for me, more than anything, I'm good with individuals. I'm great with individuals. Crowds, I am not very good with. It's like, you know, if this podcast ever like took off and got really big, and we were like, "Hey, let's throw a convention," I'd be like, "That sounds great."
No.
Cool.
Yeah,
Can we
I don't
not?
think I would be able to do that.
I
That
would
be too much pressure.
I was like, I think I would be able to
Can we
do it,
not?
but man, I'd be like,
You'd have to.
I would
talk
crack.
me into it.
Although I have to say, I've been in that kind of situation where I used to do taiko. You know, after a performance, so the people would come up and be like, "Oh yeah, it was great" and all that, and I love that. So maybe I could do the convention. I don't know. I just don't know. But it wouldn't be much of a convention without Bexy and C. I'll just say that.
So, but you said you had gone to raves. Did the crowds then didn't bother you at the raves, or was it just a different experience?
I was stoned. So...
Okay, yeah, that helps quite a bit. Yeah, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
I avoided the E. I avoided all that hard stuff. I was stoned. I smoked weed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I did shrooms, but that was it. That's all I ever did.
Yeah, I was the same way. I tried a couple other things, but they didn't fit my personality. You know, like I stayed with the more natural aspect of.
I didn't think that
feeling really good.
I didn't think shrooms would fit my personality very well because I'm a bit, wound up all the time. But, I loved it. Like, to this day, I'm like, and you know what? There's a study that was done not long ago. I might still have the link somewhere. It was a major study by a very credible group about the effects of psilocybin on depression, which is the active ingredient of mushrooms. And it's been hugely beneficial. You know, you don't want to have so much that, like a jerk that's like, oh, it's your first time? Then you're going to need to eat the whole eighth to feel anything. Oh, you asshole. But it's like, hey, you know what? You had a couple of caps or a couple of stems. And it's just enough. And, it's really hard to be depressed when everything's fucking amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way I could be depressed or
man.
anything when I heard God in a car wash. We walked through a closed car wash and I heard God. It was just the car wash guy telling us to get out of the car wash. But in that moment, it sounded like God, so, how can you be depressed when that kind of thing happens? You really can't.
I want to try someday.
I want to say no to drugs because we're on a podcast, but it was awesome. Like,
let's put it this way. If your doctor recommends it to you or prescribes it to you, go for it. If it's medically, if you have a medical professional telling you this is good for you, they're the professionals.
Yes, so go for it.
Yeah,
but I got to be the responsible adult. Yeah. If any kids are listening out there, say no to drugs. This is your brain.
Brain on drugs.
Stupid commercial.
This is your brain on marijuanas.
I took a toke of the marijuanas.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't say that they're bad. I can't say any of that is bad for anybody. It's to me, all of those experiences were really great, and I'm glad I went through them. So,
right, but I mean, there are bad experiences, and those things are terrifying.
Yeah,
which is why, seriously, if you're going to do that stuff, make sure that a doctor is the one that's telling you this is what you need to do, this is how much you should do, this is the environment you should be in. Because a lot of it, too, if you're in the wrong environment, it can take a good trip and just fucking shatter it.
Yeah. And then it's all over with, and you don't want that to happen.
Although DeVerne did make a very great comment. If there was a god and they came into a car wash, we would have a lot of questions.
Well, you know, maybe he wanted to check out what it would be like living the life of a car wash person. I don't know. I'm just kind of zoned out, but yeah, I maybe would answer more questions if God was part of a car wash, because I could see that happening. You know, it would be like Alanis Morissette being God in Dogma.
The last I knew, Alanis Morissette was God because Dogma.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Austin was talking about, actually, the chat. It's getting really good in the chat. Austin said that he knows firsthand how it works. Anna said it's supposed to help the endocannabinoid system. And Austin was saying it works by microdosing. You take so little you don't feel it. There's people out there that will also microdose on meth because it helps with ADD. And I mean, again, microdosing.
What was that system that Anna mentioned?
The endocannabinoid.
Endocannabinoid.
Is she sure that's not in a Star Wars movie, like the Hoth system or the Dagobah system?
Isn't that the moon that they built the second Death Star around?
I believe so. I really do.
I'm a little Ewok, short and stout.
And then Anna, one of my kids' teachers told the class, if anyone offers you drugs, say thank you, because drugs are expensive. Kind of like, those Halloween things. They're always talking about, you got to be careful because someone might put drugs in your bag. How fucked up do you have to be to put drugs into someone's bag? Because, I mean, that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
You're not going to be giving that away.
I'm not going to be throwing kids my drugs. They're damn expensive.
Kids are going to get edibles for Halloween. Nobody's giving away their edibles.
You know, but remember when I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, the fear was always put in us that they're going to put razor blades and like apples and shit like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was never ever a case of that. It was just some weird fear tactic.
So
like,
you want to hear something really cool about that, though?
Yeah.
My hometown, the hospital offered to X-ray everybody's candy for free. You just bring it in, they'd X-ray it all.
Uh-huh.
Quickest way to check for it.
Yeah. Just X-ray everything and see.
When my mama was younger, they put some razor blades in like an apple that they were giving out.
So
I think
it really
that's
happened.
The only time.
Oh,
I
really?
think that's the only time I ever heard that it actually happened. But yeah, when she was younger, that apparently happened in her neighborhood.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I'd heard the rumors about it, but then later on, when I got older and read about the stories, they said that they couldn't find anything that had happened to start those rumors. Like they didn't find anything credible that, you know, like a kid got hurt from it and they put out a warning or anything like that. It was just something that kind of got spread over time. So
awesome. Austin said that he would be super down to come on the show and talk about the microdosing.
Yeah, I should.
I'm
really
interested.
should.
So I just said, hit us up. Here's how to reach us. So yeah, that would be a great episode.
That would be really perfect because I think a lot of people would benefit from things like that when it comes to anxiety and, you know,
depression
and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I know I don't mention depression a lot. I know I went through bouts of it, especially in the beginning of, you know, having the stroke and being in
not to be that guy, but how could you not?
Well, yeah, I
initially,
right?
You try to keep it together. You really do. It's like it's almost like two parts of you are fighting. You know, like you want to let yourself feel the emotions of it, but then you also want to hide it so that the kids don't see you depressed. You know, like I was living my life. You always kind of live your life for your kids in a way, and you want to always give them that positive outlook. So I never really broke down in front of my kids. I broke down when I was alone or when, you know, I had my moments of just being in myself, you know, in my own head, I guess. and blaming myself, and that goes along with all of it too. Is a lot of blame gets put on yourself, like, could you have fixed this? Could you have made it better? Could you have made it not happen? How would life be better? But then you come out of it and you go, none of that matters, because the shit just happened. You don't deal with it because it happened. You can't pretend it didn't happen.
You will drive yourself mental,
Yeah.
But you'll drive yourself absolutely nuts dwelling on the what ifs.
Yeah, and what ifs.
And what's it get you? Like, seriously, what does it get you?
It doesn't get you anything. I've learned that. What ifs don't do anything. It just makes everything. Oh, go ahead.
And I said, now you'll never be alone.
Okay, now that's starting to sound a little misery-ish.
She's turning into Sting from Every Breath You Take.
That is the ultimate stalker song. Like, seriously.
Wait, Anna, I love you. I'm just kidding.
But I'm just thinking that whole, now you'll never be alone. 'Cause if you try to leave me, I'll break your ankles.
Yeah. Why am I starting to feel like
see, all I hear in my head are the twins from The Shining. Come play with us. Come play with us forever and ever and ever.
Nope.
Now you're creeping me out.
All I can think about is that one meme of a seagull and another seagull's watching it, and it's like, every step you take, I'll be watching you. And it like flips over to the other bird watching the original one. That's all I can think about when you guys say that.
When it comes to that song.
It's like when Sting did it, it's like, oh, that's great. Yeah, but if some guy from the trailer park did that, man, there'd be cops all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Well, like what was funny to me is a lot of people have played that for their wedding song. And Sting was like, why? Why are you using this for your wedding song? Because it's a crazy song,
So my ex-wife and I, when we got married, her cousin, fantastic singer. I knew that she was trying to get on Broadway. I don't know if she ever did. We're divorced now, so don't really talk about that stuff. But at the time, we had a specific song that we wanted her to sing, which was from Jewel. Don't Tell Me I Love You. And it's like the songs Don't Tell Me I Love You because those words touch much too deeply. It's a sweet song, but it sounds a little jacked up at first. And she didn't want to sing that song. She wanted to sing My Heart Will Go On.
My Heart Will Go On?
Yeah.
Without you?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Becky was definitely nailing it pretty well there. But, yeah, so she sang the Titanic theme song at our wedding. That should have been the first sign. just saying.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was the Titanic theme song, so that would have been the first. And then the lyrics come in next, those lyrics are pretty bad. So,
well,
but yeah.
How many songs out there though, other than that one? That one doesn't count for this. But how many have like upbeat music and the lyrics are like dark as shit, like Mad World, the original Tears for Fears version?
Yeah. That's exactly what that song's like. Is that
Simon and Garfunkel? Literally everything.
Yeah, everything is upbeat and the lyrics are dark as hell.
Yeah, it's like even the original Genesis Land of Confusion.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite videos because they had all their puppets going. And what was that group called? There was a group that did those lifelike puppets.
Spit and Image.
Yeah, Spit and Image. That's what it was.
Their movie was amazing.
I don't even know if I ever saw that.
Oh god, they're doing this whole big, like all the Hollywood stars were going to get together and do a dinner with Ronald and Nancy Reagan, and they're going to toast and all that, and they're all being scripted. And they had Sylvester Stallone there, and they got some food. He's all, yum, yum, Mr. Stallone, yum, Mr. Stallone. It was so damn funny. Ooh, Anna said Veronica, super upbeat. It's about dementia.
Oh yeah, Veronica, isn't that the Kinks song? If I'm right, Kinks?
I wouldn't know. I'd have to check that out. That's There's some areas that you'd think that I would know, and I'm just like, I hyper focus on areas.
I'm usually pretty good. Oh no, it's
Elvis
what's his-
Costello.
Elvis Costello. Yeah, Elvis Costello. That's what it is.
And it's all no.
Yeah. Anna's now going to kick my ass for not knowing that one.
So
Sometimes I blame the stroke on it.
Probably one of the more upbeat songs about one of the darkest subjects I've ever heard. I've shared it on this podcast multiple times. I had C listen to it. It is Possum Kingdom by the Toadies.
I love that song.
It's about necrophilia.
Yeah, it's a crazy dark song.
It is.
It's great. It's such a great song, though.
Do you want to die? That should have been the dead giveaway. Da-dun.
Yeah. That should be a wedding song.
Right?
Possum Kingdom should be a wedding song. You know, if you're going to do Every Breath You Take, why not Possum Kingdom?
Right? I promise you that you'll be like perfect forever.
Yeah. See, it's romantic. It's romantic in a dead body kind of way.
Romance.
It's not a song that bombs. It's a song that embalms. Ta-da!
And people say romance is dead.
In this case, it is.
Not in my world.
I mean, look how upbeat Semi-Charmed Life is, and it's about crystal meth.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I had no idea that's what it was about.
The one that my uncle...
There's a line in it that says, doing crystal meth will lift you up until you break.
That's probably the dead giveaway, and I never heard that.
All right, so here's one
They
that...
always blur it on the radio, though.
See, I never listened to that song that much. I think once it got into like maybe a minute of it, I'm like, nope, can't do it. So I don't ever know. I don't ever think I'd listen to it that much
So
to catch on to it.
Here's one that my uncle figured out. I don't know if they actually ever... It was the Eagles. I don't know if they ever actually officially said what Hotel California is truly about. But he thinks it's about cocaine addiction. Because all about the mirrors on the ceiling, the pink champagne on ice.
Wow.
And also the you stab... They take the Steely Beast and they stab it with their knives, cutting the coke.
Yeah,
You can always check out, but you can never leave. That's addiction.
That's it has that, and you know the pictures on the album, from what I remember, were shot at the Camarillo State Hospital when it was open, obviously, because they've closed it down back in the 80s when Reagan closed all the mental hospitals down, which was one of the worst moves anybody's ever made.
I agree.
But
I'm not big on taxes, but that was one area that I was like, you know what? That was a good service. Okay, there were some bad apples. You don't shut everything down because of a couple of bad apples. You toss the bad apples. And Austin said heroin for, I think that's for Hotel California.
Yeah, I always thought it was more. Sometimes I would think it would, and I have to be honest. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I think it was more. Sometimes I thought it was more about mental hospitals and mental state. But it could be a mix of drugs and mental health, whatever. But like I said,
sadly they tend to go hand in hand.
Yeah, and so that could have been a good mix of that song, even though I just can't do the Eagles. Like I can't. It's just not one of my favorite bands. I think it's just I heard them so much. Being in California.
Yeah. I grew up in California. You hear the Eagles all the time. Even to this day, you go to any classic rock station, and it's almost like they're saying, it's all Eagles all the time. You're listening to the Eagle.
Yeah, why would you want to do that? Like, that just sounds like torture in and of itself. I don't think I could listen to that much Eagles.
So Austin was saying the steely knives are needles. Pink champagne and ice is the draw you take to make sure you hit a vein before you shoot.
Oh.
That makes so much sense.
Austin sounds like he knows exactly what the Eagles are talking about. Man, my charger is not staying put.
Because it comes out and it mixes in with the heroin and it looks pink.
Yeah. Yeah, the blood, yeah.
Yeah,
that makes
that's
sense.
Brilliant. And if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, I don't care about the spoiler alert. You've waited long enough. It was a very major plot point, too, in Breaking Bad with the heroin. One of the darkest scenes in the whole series.
Which scene was that? Because I've seen it. I'm just not remembering what scene that was.
When Jesse and his girlfriend were...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Walter White just stood there and watched.
Yeah. Wait, spoiler alert.
Oh, no, I already said it's been out long enough.
Yeah. We can talk about all of it.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it by now, you're probably not going to, so I don't feel so bad.
Everyone dies. No.
Almost. Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much, huh?
Yeah, not gonna watch it. Tried, couldn't do it.
You couldn't watch it?
Here it is.
Great.
Austin.
Such a great show.
I ran a drug-focuses not-for-profit for years. Yes, we want you on the show.
Yes.
I have someone I'm trying to get contact with again. We briefly communicated a little bit, and I'm hoping they're listening right now, that worked the suicide hotline for years.
Oh, yeah.
That's
that would
another.
Be a good one.
Yeah, because, I mean, not only just for, like, what's it like working on it, but it's like, how does that affect you? That's your job. You are dealing with some of the darkest moments of people's lives on a 40-hour-a-week basis.
That would be so hard to deal with, and more power to all those people.
Exactly.
Thank God, or thank thank Buddha, Allah, whoever, that those people are there for people in need that service, because they do a lot for that.
Yeah,
and you should have that person on.
It's like dispatchers have it rough enough. But I can only imagine suicide hotline's got to be like it concentrate of what the dispatchers get.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I mean, dispatchers, they'll get like someone's driving crazy on the road. Okay. Oh, we got this. Okay. But then you do get the shit like, okay, there's a domestic disturbance.
Yeah, and you got to go deal with that and the kids, and it's
officer down. That's got to be stressful.
Yeah. That's got to be rough too, yeah.
Hostage situation, more stressful. But I mean, when it comes to the suicide hotline, I mean, I guess a good way of looking at it is it would be a hostage situation every single call. You are your own hostage.
Yeah, and that's just, I can't imagine doing that and going home at night and having all that rolling around your head. I don't know. But
I can say just from doing this podcast and listening to stories, there are some nights where when the story has been, just really, really horrific, that I lay awake and I'm like, oh, these people, I don't know how I would deal with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to deal with it. I don't know, because I do like to help, but having that all come at you all the time might be a little bit overwhelming and too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it
was like dead air there for a minute.
Yeah, no, there are definitely those episodes where, I mean, there's episodes that after it's done, go back in the house, from my office, I'm riding a high. And I'll ride it for a couple of days. When I run my own, like if I do my own episode and I'm like pouring it out, I could run on a buzz for like a week. But then there's those ones that they hit. You walk into the house, like I walk back in the house and it's like, my wife goes, oh, one of those episodes. I'm like, yeah. I'm going to go to bed now. Because,
Yeah, you just want to like blank out of it and go to sleep.
Oh, I lay down in bed and I sit there and chat C and Bexy all night.
Yep.
Because we're all three like, yeah.
I've had quite a few struggles after some episodes.
Yeah.
That's why I've made it a point to mix in Muppets and frogs, so that it's not too crazy of an episode. I didn't want to be too much of a downer, and
it's not
I wanted
easy
to
being green.
Oh.
It is not. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. I can kind of
Kermit the Frog here.
Oh,
Greetings.
now I want to go get my Muppet.
Go get your Muppets. No, I have. Oh, all my Muppets are over there. I was gonna get one, but it would take me a half hour to hop over to Kermit and grab my talking Kermit. Oh yeah, you
That's my Fraggle.
You got your red Fraggle.
Yes, I have red.
You know they have new ones on Apple TV, right?
But are they any good?
They are actually.
I like Apple TV. I'm not gonna lie. It's surprised me on how much I actually enjoy the shows on it. They're so good quality.
Yeah.
Like right now, my favorite series of books is on Amazon Prime, and I hate it. I'm so pissed.
You don't like Amazon Prime, or you don't like the...
I don't like what they did.
I have heard that... I've heard from a friend of mine who is very big into that series, and he's disgusted with it.
I would rather have had Apple do it, because Apple Plus, they actually care about quality content. Like, watch The Servant. There's so much depth and detail, and same with like the morning show. So much depth and detail.
Oh my god!
Amazon is just like
amazing.
Yeah, and Amazon's like, we just want the money, and they fight to cut out all the good stuff, like the stuff that's critical to the story. And I was first so excited that there's going to be. It was like, after the Game of Thrones is done, it's going to be our show, and I'd rather it be on HBO or Apple TV Plus, even Paramount Plus, because they all like good quality content. Netflix and Amazon, they're just like hell bent on destroying things. And like I have friends that have never read the series, and they're like, "Hey, I actually really like this series." I'm like, "It's shit. Read the books, you'll love it. This is shit." There are some things I like the intro scene to it. It's the Wheel of Time. The intro to it, fucking amazing. Absolutely everything that you want from the Wheel of Time. But they fucked up everything.
I feel like we should be getting paid for like pimping out some of the cool stuff we've been talking about. Propping up things, and like hopefully there's somebody out there listening that works with some of this stuff, and they're like, "Oh, look at that! They're they're promoting our things. Let's help them out."
Hey, if they want to go ahead and donate, or sponsor us, we'd love it. But we're not going to do like actual sponsor spots on this podcast, because no.
Right.
I have other podcast ideas that I'd like to go if once this one takes off a little bit better and starts sustaining itself better. Which, I will go ahead and happily do sponsorships on those. But this one, no.
No.
Because it'd be like, I'm sorry that you're bawling your eyes out right now, but we have to stop and promote.
Yeah. Here's Lifesavers for their new rainbow flavored whatever.
Is Effexor right for you?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Or like right guard deodorant right in the middle of like somebody's deep confession of.
Or raise your hand if you're sure.
Hold on a beat. We have to hear from Honey Nut Cheerios.
And they're
now
good
that we're done.
Yeah, go for it.
Now that we're done talking about someone's depression and suicide attempt, let's hear from today's sponsor.
Yeah, it's got to be something upbeat. It's got to be like some sort of candy, Twix. Or Twix candy.
Or if it's something that's related to what we're doing, like, do you suffer from seasonal affective disorder? Well, Happy Light brand Happy Lights, Sunlights, are the best ones that you could possibly get. I have a Happy Light. It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. But I don't want to have to do a spot for it.
I don't have a Happy Light. It sounds like an interesting thing.
It's a full spectrum, sunlight.
Okay.
If you have seasonal affective disorder, it's amazing. It's never as good as actual sunlight, but it really helps a lot.
See, with me being in California, that doesn't. In Minnesota, when it becomes winter, it's just so cold. Like you can even get really sunny days, but it could be like -15. So it's more the cold than the the sun that gets to me there. But like Washington, it's like gray for 2 weeks, and that's when it get you're like, do something, rain.
Oh,
Like even if it rained, I would be happy with it because at least it's doing something.
my hometown.
But it's just
I went literally from October until May without seeing the sun once.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And I didn't live and I was in California the whole time. So it's not like I lived above the Arctic Circle or anything.
Right.
Just
Where was it?
Mount Shasta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was awful. It was just, yeah, I can't deal with that. So like Seattle, I don't mind visiting Seattle during the summertime.
Yeah,
My dad
there's,
decided
like,
to take us up there for Thanksgiving one year, and I'm like, I kind of want to blow my brains out because there's no sun and it's dark
There's, like-
all the time.
There's like 2 good weeks up in Seattle in the summer. 2 really good weeks. No, that's not true. There's more. I love that area.
No, I have a friend that lives so far north in Washington that he looks out his back, out the back of his house. He's looking into Canada.
You can throw rocks into Canada. Hey,
Oh man, if he did
Take
that,
that.
he might start a war. The Americans are attacking us.
is it like Vancouver? Because Vancouver is a really nice little area, but it's to me it's almost like an extension of Seattle. It's Seattle-esque, It's kind of got that feel. I
I've
mean,
heard that.
there's a lot of differences, but it's kind of Seattle-esque.
So
Well, I don't know if Seattle took from there or whatever, but it reminds me it's very similar.
one day we may hear somebody say, Vancouver's more Seattle than Seattle.
Yeah. Trying to get my charger to stay in. It doesn't want to.
I hate when that happens.
Stupid charger. I may have to go soon because my battery's not feeling so good. But
Oh no.
Honestly, though, it was great having you on if you have to go.
Awesome.
yeah,
Oh,
this was a lot of fun. This is a lot of, well, it was good for information. It was good to talk about things.
Yeah.
But it was also a lot of fun. I
Yeah,
like doing this.
With the extra time that we got, we kind of, like our first season, we only had 45 minutes. So it was business only. No tangents. Business,
Yeah.
business. And that could be really, really rough.
Yeah.
Especially if you're talking about something like, I don't know, being sexually abused by your father drives you into being into alcoholism, and yeah, that's really rough. Then we got the 3-hour window, so it's like we could get pretty intense, get pretty deep, but then it's like, okay, we're getting a little too deep. Let's do a little tangent and lighten up a little bit and share some interests and stuff. And I mean, it's loose and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
we're
like this
still
format.
getting the information out there.
Yeah.
And also, I just dropped a link to our Discord in the chat. I just realized that I have a way to go ahead and put all of the donation stuff back up in the Discord.
Oh, there you go.
And a locked channel that's view only.
Oh, look, I found Bert.
It is Bert.
You found Bert?
Bert. Elmo. These are the Muppets I have
those
for
little
you.
yeah.
Big Bird. Rubber Ducky.
I don't have any of those either.
It came out of cereal boxes.
They're super cool.
Let's see, what else do I have?
Sherlock Hemlock?
Sherlock
Is that
Hemlock, yes.
That's so cool.
And the Count.
Oh, that was my dad's favorite. My dad loved the Count.
I'm still digging. There's still more in this bag.
There's still more?
Yeah, there's a couple more at least. Let's see
Please
what I
tell
got
me there's
here.
Grover. Please tell me there's Grover.
There's no Grover, but I have Betty Lou,
Oh, Betty Lou's cool.
and I have Baby Bear,
Ooh, Baby Bear.
and a random Grimace was in there for some reason.
Grimace. He was my
From
favorite
McDonald's.
McDonald's character. Yeah, he was my
Yeah.
favorite McDonald's character.
Well,
Because
good. I'll give you him too.
he looked kind of like a Muppet. So,
Right.
it's like my favorite time of Godzilla was when he was the good guy and he looked kind of like a frog lizard hybrid.
I wish I had Ernie to go with Bert, but I never got Ernie.
That's just shenanigans.
That's just wrong.
You know what? There is a way to fix it. It's called eBay.
But I got Rubber Ducky. I have Rubber Ducky, but not Ernie.
Yeah, well, you need Ernie.
I'm going to go on eBay right after this is over, and I'm going to go. Well, first I'm going to Google the eye licking.
Oh.
Anna said that I had a purple van named Grimace. I had a 57 Ford pickup, 3 on the tree stick shift, that I just simply named The Beast.
I didn't name any of my cars. I did skate on one, though, because it was all beat up, so we would skate on the car.
Every car I've ever owned, I've named. The one car I didn't name is the biggest piece of shit, and it fucking ruined it. It went out of its way to inconvenience my life. Oh, you're in the middle of nowhere with no cell signal? I'm dead.
So
that car was your Eleanor.
Wait, what happened to Eleanor?
I said that car was his Eleanor.
Oh, who's Eleanor?
Yeah, I don't catch that reference.
Oh, the car from Gone in 60 Seconds that gives Nicolas Cage all the shit.
That's right.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
It's a good movie.
Oh my god. It's not a bad movie.
No, I would
but Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But
he's always
Did you just turn my Xbox on?
But
Excuse me while I yell
will
at my
say that the casting of Nicolas Cage in this was actually a good choice. Like, he fit the role.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes they'll cast him and it's like, dude, what? Like, seriously, no. You're a good actor, but this is so not you.
Well, my favorite movie with him is Leaving Las Vegas. Oh, and Valley Girl. Because, Valley Girl, he got his chest shaved into like a hawk shape or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, you see has everybody seen Valley Girl?
I haven't seen that.
You have not seen Valley Girl?
No.
Oh my god.
So here's
gag me with
what
the
you have to do. Everybody after this has to do their certain things. I've got to Google eye licking.
I gotta go watch.
You got to go watch Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage, because they shaved his chest, and it's like this V shape, like a bird. It's really weird, because he's at the beach, and he's hanging out with his friends. And even as a young person, I was like, that's not right. That's not normal. It's not a normal thing.
Could you imagine being Nicolas Cage's agent? Hey, so we got this script. I'll do it. It's actually pretty terrible. I don't care. I'll do it. It's going to hurt your career. I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
That seemed to be like his MO.
He's actually quite good in that movie, because it's like way early on. It's like, how he has that little part in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He's like one of the friends. But in this one, he's a bigger part. He's like the main guy. But it's in that same era of those movies. Yeah,
I will say that City of Angels, he actually was really good in that. I think that was one of his better performances.
I know I've seen it.
The one with Meg Ryan.
Yeah, I know I've seen, because it had a pretty decent soundtrack. Wasn't like Alanis on that, and wasn't like Peter Gabriel or something too on that one.
Yeah, Alanis Morissette's
the Goo Goo Dolls.
Uninvited. Such a great song, Uninvited.
Yeah. And the Goo Goo Dolls, or whoever they were on that one.
And then Anna just said his Tiny Elvis SNL skit. Now I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to do after this is over. We're going to be busy.
Yes. I like that.
I know, so do I. We've got homework.
I've already got stuff to do.
Like literal homework, right?
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I have to make Christmas presents.
What am I getting this year?
A drawing.
Not my dog.
Oh, I can't have Chippy. Well, then I'm out.
Oh, Anna said Jim's getting busy.
For Christmas?
That's what Anna said.
Look at his face, though. Don't you just want to take him home?
He's so cute. Look at his little face. Hi, little dude.
Buster. Here we go.
Can you see me?
Here's my Buster.
If he could... Wait, let me see. Let me see, puppy.
Buster, 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 Buster.
Oh, yay. He's a beagle?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, he's so cute.
He is so
Look, I'm gonna
loud
steal.
and rambunctious, and
Does he howl?
that's all he does. He can't bark.
He just howls?
He
Wait,
can't bark.
Does he? But does he fly a plane and wear goggles and a hat?
He sits on top. Well, we don't have a doghouse, but he does sit on top of this giant cooler that we have that's about 4 feet tall, about the size of a doghouse. He's on it all the time.
And does he make plane sounds when he's on
No, but he does a little ah.
it? Close enough.
No, what's funny is I can mess with him pretty well because he's only a year old. So I like if it's dark out, he does. He's a scent hound, but he doesn't use his sense of smell when he's scared. It's just so weird. My lab figured out if something's unusual, sniff. It's probably me.
Yeah.
He hasn't figured that out yet. But you can tell he's freaked out because his howl hits another octave at the end.
Ooh.
No, he goes like, oh, it goes like a, bar! Bar!
He's probably freaking out right now going, what the hell's going on?
And if I howl at him, he'll howl at me back.
Do it. I want to see it. Do it. Where's he at?
He just left. He went out
Oh,
the dog.
my
door.
dog's wow.
Oh, he hurts my ears. He is so loud.
Oh, really?
Beagles are unbelievably loud.
Also,
Again, they don't know
get
how
a-
to bark. Their bark is just a short howl.
also,
Yeah, it's just a how.
Yeah.
I want to get my goal is to get an English bulldog and name it Sir Button Willoughby and have it wear a top hat and a bow tie.
I love English bulldogs.
Yeah, so do I. They're so fantastic.
Another dog, like a dog that I'm a big dog person. Like I love big dogs. Buster, my beagle, because of his weight, he's technically classified as a large dog.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah,
I mean, he is dense. He's 60
Yeah,
pounds.
Yeah, and he's only a year old. He's going to get bigger than that too, isn't he?
No, they get beagles tend to be full grown by about 8 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They grow fast and then they just muscle to the end of the year. He is just unbelievably muscular dog. Like I pick him up and I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
My
It's like
yellow
the-
lab and this dog weigh almost the same.
watch this. Hi.
But a small dog that I absolutely love because every single one I've ever met has had a large dog's soul. Pugs.
Look, they're both getting on it.
Okay.
Oh, I can see him running in. This is the best podcast ever.
Hi,
Whoa. Hi.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chippy.
Anna's all, I can only hear you. I see no puppies. Yeah, no, we don't do video. We do video
Yeah.
between each other. That way we can
Yeah, I
do
can-
like visual cues, but no.
But Anna, be very jealous. I can see all the puppies.
All the puppies.
I can see all the puppies.
I'm going to have to send her pictures of the puppies later.
Yeah.
And you can always send pictures of my Buster and my Sadie.
Yeah. Oh, I love his Sadie dog. She's so pretty.
That's the lab.
Yeah. She's actually been called by all the neighbors the friendliest dog in the neighborhood, if not the friendliest dog they've ever met.
I love labs.
She is just so sweet.
Down here, I have the unfazed one with her black.
She's just like, I'm not having any of this.
She's 14. She doesn't care what these boys do.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
She's
I
a
wouldn't
grumpy
care.
old lady. All she wants is someone to hold her like this and kiss her.
All right, so Austin just said, I got to cut out, y'all. I love the show as always. And thank you, Jim, for sharing. Your story will undoubtedly give someone hope and the realization that life is what you make it when you don't let life just happen to you.
Cool. Thank you, Austin. That's
and then,
awesome.
Yeah, and they say he's going to hit me up soon. And good night, all. And then Anna said, I'm petting Piggy.
Yeah,
And
Piggy's
biopsy.
so cool. Piggy's an awesome puppy dog.
We had another guest. Why am I drawing a blank on the name? I see the face so clearly. Big 49er fan, spinal bifida.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah. He came on, and same kind of thing, just that overwhelmingly positive attitude.
Yes.
And he was born where he basically is wheelchair bound, but you would never have known it.
He's really great, too.
Yeah. We talk all the time on Facebook, usually talking shit about the 49ers.
I'm on Twitter, so yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just such a good way to go through it. You know, you can't change much of it, so you might as well, you know, make a positive out of a negative. If you can do it, it really does help. And like I said, I want to help other people as much as I can with what I've gone through, and maybe it'll resonate with somebody, even if it's not the same issue, it's not the same thing that has happened to them. Maybe some of it will resonate with them in any way that, you know, it can help.
All right. So I have one that if you haven't watched it, you need to. Have you ever seen from America's Got Talent, the comedian Josh Blue?
I don't think so.
He was the first comedian to get all the way to the finals in America's Got Talent. He has cerebral palsy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I stole his shirt. I got a shirt he was wearing.
Not the broccoli?
No. Wait. So is he the guy that talks through like a sequencing thing where it's like a computer? Oh, okay.
No,
there was a guy.
Oh, go for it.
Okay. Tell me about the other guy, because I haven't seen that guy.
Well, he was talking about, he's like, I have cerebral palsy, so when I'm walking around like this, I'm not high. I just look it.
Yeah.
And I was walking around trying to find the studio here for the tryout, and a bunch of people gave me money. I got like $20 in my pocket now. He's like, I fit in with California.
I'm a big fan, like, because I went to culinary school. I cooked for a while, and then when I was in Washington, I got into the wine industry. So I got big into wine, you know, trying to make it and drink, obviously drinking it, but drinking good wines too. But now after the stroke, I'm like, if I have some wine, I can just blame it on the stroke. Like, officer, leave me alone. I just had, I had a stroke. I'm not drunk.
I smell alcohol in your breath.
Oh, that's my wine chewing gum.
There you go. The one thing that he pointed out, and it was a great one, the Josh Blue, he said that, everybody has their little groups and, the different minorities and their different, demographics, but there is one minority that anyone can become a part of at any time. All it takes is one bad turn, one fall down the stairs, and you're part of our group. I'm like, damn, is he right?
One faulty brain vessel, and you're right along with me,
Yep. The only person I did meet one person who had a full. They were only late 20s, early 30s. They were working in their garden, and they had an aneurysm just burst.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet her until she was like in her 40s or 50s. Sweetest lady in the world, but the thing was that anytime she started getting down on herself, change the subject. She had no short-term memory.
Mm-hmm.
So you just change the subject and it was, okay, no problem. But she would remember you if you visited her enough, which was cool.
Yeah, but she just didn't remember talking about being down on herself. And then if you change the subject, it was just onto another thing, which was great, so that she didn't continually stay in that mental state. Right,
and she was a serious kick in the butt. My mom used to actually work at a care center that she was staying at. Uh-huh. And every time she'd see my mom go by, she'd be like, hey, Toots!
That's funny.
Yeah, my mom's one of the, where my personality comes from, largely is my mom. She's the kind of person that'll strike up a conversation with someone standing in the line at the grocery store. So am I.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't understand it. My dad is it's like if you look at their sense of humor, my dad is intellectual humor. My mom is shock humor. I blend them. I like to have you have to tease out what I really said and have you go, "Oh my god!"
That's a good mix, you know.
That's
a good mix.
I was at a Food for Less, and I was at the checkout stand, and they had one of those like cabinets that was with a locked glass door, and right next to each other there was Crest whitening strips and Trojan condoms, and I just blurted out, "So what's the message here? One way or another, your teeth are getting white." The entire line started busting up. The lady at the register started cracking up, and the manager went, "Okay, we need to move those." But he was laughing too. Yeah.
I think he was on the comedian I'm talking about. I think he was on like the English version of Got Talent, because you can't say America's Got Talent. It's England's Got Talent.
I think they do Britain's Got Talent is the name of it.
Yeah, Britain's Got Talent. I just saw his clip, and he speaks through like a computer. You know, he does his jokes through the computer. But what struck me as hilarious, and I bought the shirt because they make it on whatever website now, but it's blue. The color is like the handicap sign, you know, like the placard or the sign in the spot. And it's the handicap guy, but he's got his hand raised in victory, and he's partly out of his chair. And on top of it, it says, "I'm only in it for the parking."
Love that.
So I had to get that shirt, so I now own it.
You see, now that's the kind of attitude I think is just fantastic, because you're not letting it defeat you.
No. You know, like I always talk about, like, I've got a pass, you know, like my handicap placard, I got a pass because I can drive. Like I've got, you know, I got the go ahead from therapy. They did a weird kind of test where they have this board. It's almost like whack-a-mole. They do these little light up boards where you have to touch all the lights. You know, it's like your reaction time basically.
Right.
And I passed it with flying colors. And so I've had my license in Minnesota. I have my license here in California. So I can drive, you know. That's the one good thing too, is that I have that freedom of being able to throw on some music and just go drive.
Windows down, music up.
Exactly. And it's just perfect. It kind of blows everything out of your mind. You know, you get into that music healing of things, you know, and I can't ask for anything more than that.
And that actually, I think that there's a phrase that I was told, I heard a lot when I was in an IOP for anxiety and depression, is that I have anxiety and depression. They don't have me. Yeah. It could also be used with a disability. I have a disability. It doesn't have me.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I look at mine, is that this does not define who I am. You know, none of this does. It's just...
It's a part of who you are.
Yeah. I own it rather than it owning me. You know, like, I make fun of myself as much as possible. I kind of do it in front of people so that they know it's okay to kind of go that route. You know, 'cause I don't mind. I don't mind people making fun of me. I think it's hilarious. To some degree, you know, I'm sure there's...
as long as they're not being mean about it.
Right. Or, like, if it's people I know, but if it's people I don't know that are trying to, like, fit into it, I'm kind of like... It's almost like there's very few people that can call me Jimmy. You know, like if it's a stranger, I'm kind of like, no, you can't call me that. You know, if it's my mom, yeah, cool. Even Anna, you can call me Jimmy. But if it's like anybody outside of a circle of people, I'm kind of like, no, you can't do that. So if it was people I didn't know trying to make fun of me, I'd be like, no, you don't have the clout with me yet to be able to do that.
Yeah,
but you know, so yeah, just no, I'm not having any of it.
No, I get that. You know, I get that. Like, family and friends can pick on family and friends. Strangers, no,
not at all.
I don't know what your intentions are. I don't know anything about you. The answer is no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just cut off right away.
Kind of I could pick on my sister. Somebody else tries to pick on my sister, I will fucking clobber them.
Yeah.
Although my sister is a correctional officer, she'll clobber you, and I'll just sit back and laugh.
Yeah, you just sit back and film it to put it up on YouTube later.
No, I wouldn't do that. Honestly, I wouldn't do that. But I definitely sit back and remember it because it would get her in a lot of trouble if I were to record it. So
you'll take mental pictures.
Yep.
Take many mental pictures of it so you can relive it. Watch your sister kick this person's ass over and over again.
What was that, Bexy?
I said he is allowed to pick. God help you if he finds out anybody else that I'm not okay with picking on me says a damn thing to me, because he's like a hellhound.
Yep, I actually when I was on Twitter before I got my permanent ban.
You got permanently banned from Twitter?
Oh yeah,
he has been banned from Twitter.
I have an IP ban. I can't even try to sign in again with my. I have to use a VPN. But
that's funny.
But yeah, I would Bexy would have someone like an attacker. You know, fat girl, easy target. And I would come in with the fury. But I would do it in a playful way, draw their attention to me, completely leaving Bexy out of it, and then just destroy them. And a lot of people will think that, I'm getting the best of you, and I'm laughing my ass off. I quickly go from I'm pissed off that you attacked my friend to, you're attacking me now? Okay, now let's have some fun. And they're like, you're so angry. I'm like, I'm laughing my ass off. Are you kidding me? You're projecting, dude.
I had somebody do something the other day, and I mean, I had so many people that messaged me to check on me and make sure I was okay. But somebody said something about what did they say? Something about my big ass pumpkin head. And they're like, they were horrible. And so I was like, they're like, you shouldn't post anything. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. So I'm like, here, have some more selfies of my big ass pumpkin head.
Yeah.
When I first met Bexy, she would have been destroyed off of one comment. Yeah. Now she fights back the best way possible.
Yeah, and that's the best thing is to be able to do that. You know, getting that mindset of like, is that Adam?
Yep. That is Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Hi, Adam. How you doing, Adam?
Waiting for me to clean his glasses.
Turning
on my Xbox without permission.
Just to give you an idea,
things in the kitchen.
Just to give you an idea of what kind of reputation I got on Twitter, there's one person who was an endless troll of Bexy, endless tormentor. Got to the point where before she would even make a single comment to Bexy, would block me. I was pre-blocked.
You're like, I'm not going to deal with that guy.
Exactly.
Haven't heard from that person in a while.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
The toad.
The toad.
There's too many of those kinds of people on there too. It's sad.
Yeah, well, this person, they
Dogs and toads. I think I should rename that person.
I think what they do is they get a lot of burner phones, so that way every time they get one phone number banned, they just come back with another one, and because they're burner phones, they come with different IP addresses too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I could get a burner phone and set back up again, but I miss some aspects of Twitter, but there's a lot of it that I don't miss, and it has just gotten worse, especially now that Jack's stepped down. Oh God, it's getting worse.
Oh, it's horrible, but I mean, I'm also like Twitter addict, so
I have fun. I have fun on there, and
I just
of course that's where I met Anna, so I can't talk bad about Twitter.
Well, that's how 100%. I met Bexy.
Can't speak that much about Twitter. If not for Twitter, I wouldn't know I wouldn't know you.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for Twitter, you might not be alive. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true too.
So there are some things I'm very thankful about for Twitter, but I think for me, Twitter served its purpose. In
short, though, I do enjoy Twitter. more than I probably should at times because I get really addicted to like just going on. But
yeah,
it's
that's
like
addicting.
Where else
like
am I going to go to tease you with pictures of my dogs?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where else would I get that? Like, I have to go there to get pictures of dogs.
But I gotta ask you this. How many people do you know that have a permanent suspension from Reddit?
I don't know anybody.
You know one now.
Yep.
How does that happen?
Because he is a massive troll, but in the very best way possible.
Yeah, and Reddit is going the way of Facebook and Twitter. You can't even mention one of the co-founders anymore without getting it taken down immediately and getting a strike against your account. Because that particular co-founder was all about freedom of speech.
I've never even been on Reddit. Like, I don't think I've ever even been on there once.
Reddit is amazing in a lot of ways. Like, C and I bonded pretty strongly over some of the subreddits. I can't comment, I can't like or dislike anymore, but I still prowl Reddit all the time. Because there's some great content on there. Fake history porn. C got me hooked on that. I love fake history porn. It's literally, they just take images and they make up stories about it, like just fucked up, not accurate things. Because it's fake history porn. But they have a weekend rule, which really sucked when 9/11 happened, because the weekend rule was nothing before 2000, or nothing after 2000 or on 2000. So they couldn't do 9/11 fake history memes because it landed on a Saturday.
Oh, okay. So there's no way to do that.
No, there's also like bad food porn. There's if anyone actually goes to this one, I'm sorry. Don't go to Glorp.
What's it called?
Oh my god.
Glorp? Yeah, it is.
Glorp.
It is hilarious, but you will see some very fucked up things. But it's funny. Just you have to have the right kind of sense of humor for it.
Glorp just made my list right along with eye licking.
I was gonna say,
let's just put it this way: it's male parts with googly eyes.
Oh, is Anna still around?
Yeah, Anna's I love Reddit. Explain like I'm 5 is a great subreddit.
So
I love Roast Me and Toast Me.
I have to start checking these out because I've never really been on any of these.
Reddit's one of those ones you get a couple of subreddits, you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then someone links to another subreddit and you go to it, you're like, oh, this is good. Then another one, oh, this is good. And of course, there's one that's called, Of Course There's a Sub. You mean, or Of Course That's a Thing is another subreddit.
So I'm going to have to go on this now and check it out.
One that I actually got to be around the birth of it, and it's still one of my favorites, is Bonk the Fuck Out. Anytime that someone gets hit in the head and it has an audible bonk, whether it's a cartoon added bonk or the real sound, bonk the fuck out. And I actually
just put that up.
Yeah, I remember because someone said, hey, wow, they just got bonked the fuck out. Somebody did r/bonk the fuck out. It didn't exist, so someone launched it. And I was like member number 5 on that one. And I got the Flair wholesome bonks because I saw a video where this guy had a parrot, and every time he would tap the counter with anything, the parrot would turn around and bonk his head on the counter. And I was like, this is so wholesome. They're wholesome bonks. And that's how I got my Flair.
Wholesome bonks are good.
Yeah, wholesome bonks were good. I mean, there's some great shit. I mean, like, Made Me Smile is awesome. But there's some very cancerous... Oh, God, I love Idiots in Cars. Anna just said Idiots in Cars. I love Idiots in Cars. That one's amazing. But, I mean, there are like some really, like, cancerous ones out there. Like, you just... Like, I hate to say it, but don't go to white people Twitter. That subreddit. It's bad.
What is it called?
White people Twitter.
What does it do? I don't know.
It's extraordinarily... political, and there are some out there like that you actually have to verify that you're not white in order to post on, even though that's against the rules of Reddit. They're like, whatever, we'll allow it. But if you go ahead and like say, oh, we'll do one that you have to post that you prove that you're not Asian. Nope, can't have that. Or prove that you're not any other. Nope, can't have that. And it's just it's still wrong. Whether it's white or black or Hispanic or whatever, it's wrong. Period. That's my stance. You know.
Yeah, I don't. That kind of stuff wouldn't really draw me in. You know,
no.
like
So stay away from that stuff. But there's a lot of really good stuff too. Dad jokes is great. Dark jokes is great. Make Me Suffer. That one, you go at your own risk. Because it's all about what people find like, oh God, this is torture. I'm going to share it. I'll make me suffer.
Yeah. That could be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. Kids are stupid is a good one. Because, I mean, if you have little kids, yeah, as brilliant as they can be, as awesome as they can be, they're stupid.
You do know on the pitch reel for Sesame Street, there's a part in it where they're, because they're the Muppet characters, but it's not like Cookie Monster or anything. It's like, it's more like more of they're still Muppets, but they're more of a human looking Muppets.
Okay.
But not superhuman looking. They're like executives, right? And one of them says to the other one, like, so this show is for kids that don't know how to read or write? Yeah. I go, why don't you just call the show Hey Stupid? It gets me every time. Just call the show Stupid.
And I've named another good one, Today I Learned. Another one I love is Abrupt Chaos. And
that sounds like fun.
One of my absolute favorites is shockwave porn. It's nothing but shockwaves. It is so awesome. Low Altitude Jets is another good one. Accidental Terrorism is great. Because it's like, you do something like, okay, they're doing something, they're going to do something kind of cool. Oh, God, that was stupid. Oh, yeah. God, that was really stupid. Oh, God, that's like terrorist level stupid, though. Animals being jerks. Animals being derps.
I think I've seen something similar to those, where animals are being, just assholes to things, and I've seen that happen, yeah.
Another good one is Bullshito. It's the debunking of people that have bullshit self-defense stuff. Cats Are Liquid.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah, where they mold themselves into different things. Those are fun.
Another one's Noodle Bones, where they're all like holy crap, how's that comfortable? A good one, if you really want deep conversations and really like a great reading, Change My View.
Change My View?
It's where someone goes and they post, this is my stance, and here's this whole backstory as to why, and my supporting data, whatever. Change my view. And they have to truly be open to having their view changed. And then you have people going there, and it all has to be good faith. It is great. Like, I have lost so many hours reading threads and Change My View. What else is there that's really funny? Ooh, Ask Ouija. So what you do is you have to ask a question or leave a blank in a phrase or something, and you cannot comment on your own post until someone says goodbye, and then you can post stuff after the goodbye. One person at a time puts a single letter in, and you can't do two letters in a row. Like, you can't go put in one letter, then reply immediately again and do another letter. But you can do, like, one reply, someone else replies, you reply, someone else replies, you reply, and adding letters to spill out something and give you answers. And there are related ones next to it, like Wholesome Ouija and Jesus Christ Ouija. And Cursed Ouija. Because some of the answers are like, oh, no, that is great. And others are like, holy shit, guys! One word only is another one where people make sentences or phrases. And again, it's one word only at a time.
So everybody's there to make a sentence with using just one word.
Yep.
All right, I got to check this place out.
Yeah, there's so many. Like, I don't even know how many. They even have a Florida Man one.
Florida Man. That sounds interesting.
full scorpion and full shrimp. If you fall and your heels or your toes touch the back of your head, that's a full scorpion. If you fall and your face touches your knees, that's a full shrimp.
Okay, and they have all these pictures of these people doing that.
Videos.
Oh, videos. That's even better.
Yep. There's not Twitter, Reddit is one of the biggest wastes of time on the internet, and at the same time, it can also be some of the most informational. Like, I'll have random-ass questions about random-ass shit, and I'll find my answer on Reddit almost every time.
Yeah. That's where I should go.
Yeah, Reddit. Reddit's known as the front page of the internet for a reason. And also,
I feel like I've been left out of something really cool for a long time now.
Yeah, my account got suspended this year, and I'm in the 9-year club. Leaves.
I find it crazy that it got suspended.
Yeah, well, I'm a world-class troll, and sometimes I'm probably manic depressive, bipolar too. And a manic episode for me tends to be combative and invincible feeling. And I think that might play into it because I will feel invincible.
Yeah.
And I'll feel combative and I'll cross a line. Now, I don't cross lines like, threatening violence or stuff like that, but I'll just, probably not the best choice of words. Stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how Go Potato got you banned.
Who's Go Potato?
Oh,
No. It's not a person. It's a phrase he used while arguing with somebody in a debate. He said something along the lines of, "This is ridiculous. You went full potato. Never go full potato," as a reference to the never go full R word.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Tropic Thunder, right?
Oh,
yeah.
So, yeah. So, Go Potato got him banned.
Yeah, no, the one that I still question is, you see, now, I'm an equal opportunity troll. I don't care which side of the political spectrum you're on. If I see an opportunity, I will take it. Now, obviously, I have my own politics and all that, but yeah.
Right.
I when it comes to the two big parties, I don't like either of them. Not really. But it was just back when they were saying that the left isn't violent. And I told someone, I hope that you go and find the left the same way that they treat people who are on the right. Boom, gone for promoting violence. And I went, but I thought the left wasn't violent.
Yeah.
Like, that was all in the news that week. And I got kicked for that. Even though all over Twitter, the mods all that were talking about, the left isn't violent, the left isn't violent. So I said, I hope that you get treated by the left the way that the left treats the right. Gone. You can't have it both ways, people.
That seems strange.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. And it's like, I don't really have a thing against the left. I don't really have a thing against the right. It's just, I saw an opportunity.
Well, there's extremes on both sids. That's how I always look at it.
That's the problem.
It goes too far one way. But I don't want to get into politics right now. It's not.
Yeah, I don't really want to. I spend too much time on them already.
It's dirty.
But if you want another great subreddit, Not the Onion. It's news articles that are factual, that are so crazy that you would swear it came from the Onion or the Babylon Bee. But it's not the Onion. It's not, and there's also not the Bee. Like, no, these are not satirical. These are real. And you're like, I've read some of them. I'm like, how can this be real? How?
And most of them are probably from Florida.
A good chunk of them are.
Yeah.
To quote a mutual friend of ours, we live in incredibly stupid times.
I actually used that quote today.
I use that quote all the time.
It's true, though. All right, everybody's dropping off now. Like, Anna just had to go. Austin's been gone.
Okay.
DeVern's been gone. Kat's been gone.
It's just us rambling, basically.
Yeah, and it's the last 15 minutes. Even it looks like even C has to go.
Okay.
So yeah,
this was a good time. It was a lot of fun.
I'm glad that you came on. Thank you very much.
I am really glad you
no
came.
problem. Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. So really,
Thanks for wanting to do this.
really fast for anybody that's listening or they're coming back later. Next week is going to be a great episode. We're actually going to be talking about something that we should have addressed a long time ago: the importance of proper medication and how valuable that really is. You know, I'm medicated.
That's it.
Medicated.
I'm medicated.
C's
I think
nodding.
everybody is to some degree, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like people that, use drugs and alcohol, a lot of times that's just self-medication. Or caffeine can be self-medication.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a topic we should have covered a
I'm
while
medicated.
ago.
What's that?
I'm medicated.
Unsweetened tea.
Was that milk mixed with soy sauce?
No. That's my gallon of unsweet tea.
Oh.
It's Kiko milk.
No, I'm not having any of that. I won't be having any pilk.
All right. So again, thank you very much, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you everybody for listening in. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, I'm E.
And I'm Bexy.
And on behalf of C, we'll catch you next week.
Bye.